AdvanceWindshield.com.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Let's go, baby, let's go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
They said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, welcome into a Wednesday edition of OTB. I know I was in the host chair yesterday and promised you that Jake and T-Bob are going to be back here on Wednesday. T-Bob is out. He has a funeral to go to. That is completely understandable. We get it. It was just a slight miscommunication. Jake will be here in the second segment. He is just running a little late. So we're going to ride right along with you here on your early morning commute. Taylor Sharp here with you, obviously, in the producer chair. Alondra over here in the host chair. Alondra, let's wave to the camera because we are in a different spot. Neither of us in the host chair. And Alondra, I was telling you right before we went on, I jinxed myself this morning because I got in the car. You had been gone Thursday and Friday. Yeah. I had kind of been here by myself the last 3 days. And then me and you held it down yesterday. I was like, hey, it's Wednesday. The guys are back. We got the full four here on the crew. It's a normal OTB day. Well, if there's ever a normal OTB day, this is not it. But you know what? We're going to roll with the punches. How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't love this camera angle.
It was either that one or this one, and this one's going to have to be on Jake later. So we had to use this one.
This is a terrible angle. But other than that, great.
Good. Guys, I talked about it yesterday. Pretty much the whole first hour and a half of the show was talking about LSU, talking about their shortcomings against USC. Really all things negative. At the 8:30 spot, I said, we're going to put this game behind us. We're going to move forward. That's exactly what I want to do. Look, when Jake gets here, we're going to break down all those Brian Kelly comments, get Brian Kelly's comments on the game, but that's not what I want to do here in the first segment. What I want to do is look forward to that Nicholls State game coming up Saturday in Tiger Stadium. We know what this game is, right? It's not going to be competitive. It better not be a competitive game on Saturday. We want to see a lot of young players get in there. The main thing you worry about in a get-right game, to quote like this, is injuries. Can you limit your injuries in there? And what kind of injuries are you going to have leading into that game? Brian Kelly, look, this was a physical game against USC, a back-and-forth battle. There's obviously some nicks, some bumps, some bruises. Brian Kelly actually gave us a full injury report following that Week 1 game.
Well, the only disappointing news is Princeton Malbrew looks to have a serious knee injury. We're going to do a little bit more imaging on that today, but the initial imaging was not good. That would be one injury. Kyle Parker, as you know, did not play very much. I think he had a UCL, which is, I guess, the ulnar nerve. Looks to have been an injury that he's going to come back from, but we just don't know how quickly. So we would consider him right now doubtful for this weekend, but we'll see how that goes. I think everything else is, probable in terms of we've got some bumps and bruises that will show up on the injury report tomorrow, but nothing that would exclude them for the game.
For what it's worth, later on at that press conference, I was actually at that press conference, which is why I know this. It was not in that specific clip. He did mention that Kyle Parker has an injury as well. It's one of those things that's not going to keep him out long term. They just don't know when he's going to be back. And you could look at that and say, that's fine. We're so deep at receiver. The problem is Chris Hilton was already out for this game. Kyle Parker was supposed to be that stand-in. He caught 2 early passes. He looked good. He got hurt in the first half. He did not return. Now, you had Xavion Thomas and Aaron Anderson come in that game. The problem is everyone kind of views Thomas and Aaron Anderson as more of a slot guy. So when you put them in the game, are you going to have to move C.J. Daniels out wide? That's not optimal, at least for me. I want to keep C.J. Daniels in the slot because I thought he did some nice things there on Sunday night before those injuries occurred. Look, as far as Chris Hilton goes, he's a guy that's been in this program for multiple years. He just has not found a way to stay healthy. It is one injury after another with Chris. He had a really nice spring. He was looking good in fall camp for the most part. I mean, he was in line absolutely to be one of the top receivers on this team. I mean, it was really Kyron Lacy, Chris Hilton, CJ Daniels, maybe even in that order as far as who were going to be that starting three out there. 2 weeks before the season started, Brian Kelly announced that Chris Hilton had a bone bruise, and it was one of those things where it's really just a pain tolerance. It was something that was hard to heal. It just kind of had to heal on its own. It was a pain tolerance thing. He set out. Obviously, anyone who watched that game noticed he was not out there against USC. Brian Kelly actually gave us an injury report on Chris Hilton as well.
He's ground-based running, but receiver's different. Like, if he was an old lineman, he's playing, you know? I mean, if he's at a different position, he's probably playing. But this is getting a kid that is an elite player and elite speed guy, getting him right where he feels really comfortable that he can get in and out of breaks. So we'll kind of see how he goes through the week. I want to make sure he's 100% before we put him back out there.
That's what we talked about going into the game, right? What's going to be the biggest mismatch? We all thought it was going to be Chris Hilton's ability to take the top off the defense. When it was announced that Hilton was not going to be in this game, you're like, okay, LSU is going to have to change up their game plan a little bit. You saw that, right? You saw Garrett Nussmeier not take as many deep shots as we thought he was going to. Now, Kyron Lacy has size. He has speed. We saw him catch the deep touchdown pass in the back of the end zone. He doesn't have Chris Hilton's speed. I don't believe that there is a receiver on this team outside of Jelani Watkins, who's a little undersized and probably not ready to get on the field, that has the speed of a Chris Hilton. He was a different kind of receiver out there on the outside. Kyron Lacy, CJ Daniels, big-bodied guys, kind of your across-the-middle, sure-handed wide receiver. Chris Hilton brought a different element to that offense. That's gone, even with a Kyle Parker in there. The thing that I find even more interesting is the fact that if Kyle Parker and Chris Hilton can't go, are we going to see more of Shelton Sampson? That's something that Brian Kelly talked about a lot yesterday. He said we have to get a guy like Shelton Sampson up to speed. He has to be a big part of this offense because you're going to need that big weapon on the outside. Again, you have Xavion Thomas and Aaron Anderson. They are different types of receivers. You need that big body on the outside so that you can keep CJ Daniels there in the slot. That's something you missed. The ability for Chris Hilton to go deep and take the top off of defenses, it kind of hurt you a little bit there in game one against USC. Hopefully that's something we could see. And as far as the defense, I thought that left a lot to be desired as well. Brian Kelly actually talked about what he liked on defense and the biggest improvements.
We got really good play from our defensive tackle position. Very consistent play. We got depth play at the defensive end position. Really good play there. You know, I liked our linebacker play, and I liked our corners. We've got to get more production at the safety position. It's got to be better for us. So production there is key for us moving forward.
You heard Brian Kelly right there talk about the safety position. That is something that the guy who just walked in studio was texting us about last night when he had his film breakdown. Jacob Hester is in right now. Jake, thoughts on what Brian Kelly said right there about the safety position? And welcome in this morning.
Nice job, Tay, holding it down. You go to start the car this morning, and the car doesn't start. And you got to find a way to work. And so I appreciate you holding it down for 7 minutes. Didn't know T wasn't going to be here either. It was quite the morning on the OTB group chat. But no, glad to be back in studio. And you're right about the safety position. It's something that was a glaring thing on the film. Even on the broadcast, when I was in the booth, and that booth it might as well have been in Reno. It was so far away. But you could still see that once USC knew they had a mismatch with Gilbert in the middle of the football field, they took full advantage of it, and they never really went away from it. I mean, it was short, it was intermediate, it was deep shots. It was a part of the field that they realized, okay, we've got an advantage here. We're going to use our tight ends. Like, who had Lake McCree having the same amount of receiving yards as Zachariah Branch, right? And now Zachariah Branch it's more of his threat than anything. Right, I think he had 56 yards. I think McCree had the same. I think they both had 56 yards. I didn't have him, having that much success over the middle of the football field. I mean, they had a couple of players, and it was a step late. It was a step here. It was a step there. And there was one that he just flat out got beat, tried to recover, and couldn't. And luckily for LSU, the USC receiver, his momentum took him out of bounds. And so that's a position that, and Taylor, I'll come right back to you because you were high on some young players at that position, and you made the great point last night in the group chat. Gilbert's not going to be able to play in the first half of this game, and that is going to give an opportunity some young players to maybe shine and see how much playing time they can earn in that first half.
That's what I'm watching on defense here in Nicholls, like more than anything, Jake, because P.J. Woodland also had a really good game. What does that do? That opens up the possibility of pushing Sage Ryan back to safety as well. He was shockingly bad on Sunday, and I say that because if you were out there at fall practice, Jordan Gilbert was your most consistent safety at fall practice. It was really Jordan Allen that everyone was worried about. He was the one that was stepping in because you had to move Sage Ryan to corner. I thought on Sunday it was completely flipped. Does a young guy like Deshaun Spears take that spot, who did some nice things when he was in there? He's a freshman that they're high on. And again, do they start Woodland and do they move Sage Ryan back? I'm watching the safety rotation on Saturday.
Yeah, and then the first part of what BK was talking about as well, like you got some really good play from your edge defenders. And I thought Savion Jones, just like everybody who watched the game, he was fantastic. I thought he was a menace. I thought that there was a couple of times that USC held on to him that was not called him. I was like, oh, the penalty is why you lost the game. No, USC won the game. But, I mean, he was affecting play. He was either getting held or he was in the backfield. What felt like most of the night, even on the last play, even on the touchdown, I mean, he has a great move, and he almost gets home, almost gets the running back there, and they were in man coverage. And maybe it's a play we can kind of break down because initially when I watched it, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Like, where is everybody going? Kind of what's the effort here? But you can definitely tell when you go back and watch it, kind of what the situation was. LSU had man coverage. They had tight ends move across the formation. Everybody kind of went in an X pattern, and then you had a running back not really have anybody stopping him north-south. And so I thought the edge position played pretty well. I thought the linebackers played pretty well for the most part. Again, man, this was a game that was always going to be a play here, a play there. And I thought, there was one time where Greg Penn, the coverage looked like it was on Greg Penn, where you had a running back go into the flats and you had two players follow the running back into the flat. The tight end off of that is a delay vertical. And then the delay vertical, because you had two defenders go to the flat, well, he catches one for a first down. It's plays like that, right? It's like you watch last year's Florida State tape, and that was just discouraging because it was just so bad. It was bad in a lot of different places. Now, offense and defense. It wasn't just one side of the ball in that game a year ago. This wasn't that. Now, you still lost the game, and you can still be angry, right? You can still ask questions because it's 5 in a row, and those questions need to be asked. Like, I'm right there with you. But it's like, Nussmeier, like if you go like across the board, like he had one throw that really was not a great throw. Sure, like he might have had like 4 that one might have sailed on him in the flats, but it wasn't really a play. He's throwing off his back foot because he got pressure up the A gap because there was a misassignment. Yeah, sure. He made great throws all night outside of one throw, but that one throw might have been the game. That's what kind of game this was. There's so many things to kind of go back and when you watch the tape, and T-Bob and I always say it's never as good as you think it was. It's never as bad as you think it was. There's a couple of spots, and we'll highlight those spots and probably do it when we come back. We'll get to more of this sound. But, after the film review, there's 5 plays, and that might be a lot. It might be 3 plays that change the narrative of this game. And what Brian Kelly was talking about after the game and why he was so angry was those plays weren't made. USC went and made those plays. USC's receivers weren't going to be denied in this game. USC's linebackers, they weren't going to be denied. And I think that's what's so frustrating if you're Brian Kelly is you were in position to make those plays. You didn't, and they did. And certainly something that we'll continue to break down here on the show today. More OTB coming your way when we come back here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
All right, go to ColemanRoof.com. Coleman.com is the website, and when you go there, top right corner, it's going to give you all the contact information throughout the state of Louisiana. So no matter where you're at in the state, they can help you out. Now, it's commercial and residential, but certainly commercial. If you're listening to us up in the 318 and you've got a commercial property, you need a new roof, you need a roof replacement. If you need any construction work, like we're talking to you, because they truly are that one-stop shop. You got a lot of rain here coming up, and you notice you have a leak, and you didn't notice it in time. Maybe it's in the attic, and all of a sudden you have wood that's wet. You got to get it replaced. Well, the best part about Coleman Roof and Construction is Coleman Roofing and Construction can come out and truly just fix both of those things, and that's why they can be that one-stop shop that we always talk about, because that is the construction portion of Coleman Roofing and Construction. Check out the website, colemanroof.com.
Comes to business in Louisiana, we know that personalized service is key. And we're here to go the extra mile with all fiber solutions that deliver what every business needs: reliability and quality. We're not just providers. We're the local team dedicated to helping you succeed. True partnerships are homegrown. Rev Business, internet, phone, managed services. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach
It was an evening I shared with the sun to find out.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back into OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Was the receiver position might have done it better than any position on offense. When you look at your highest rated players, highest graded players from this game, it starts on offense with three receivers, Lacey, Thomas, and Anderson. And I do agree with you. It's going to be a situation where, okay, well, you got a lot of receivers that kind of have the same skill set. And how are you going to maximize those players? I thought Aaron Anderson in the film told me this story as well, but like even live, I was like, okay, that's the guy that we were told he was. That's the twitchy, quick first step, screen game, quick game kind of receiver, and that showed up on film as well in my review. He wasn't that player last year. He wasn't. I don't know if he was injured. I don't know what happened. We were told he was that. He wasn't. And obviously he had something going on last year because it flashed for me. I mean, I thought he was a big player in the game. I thought Thomas, and he didn't play a ton of snaps on offense. He probably played 15. But I thought he was someone that when he was in the game, USC had a game plan for him. Like they noticed when he was in the game. And sometimes that can affect the game as much as anything. They even ran counter with Thomas one time. I loved it. And they got away from stuff like that. And that was the one thing that was frustrating. You motion Xavier Thomas, and he comes back, and he's running counter as a receiver. And look, 5-6 yards, but still it's 5 or 6 yards. And it's something that they had to, kind of be worried about. I thought there was a period in the third quarter where it felt like LSU was still trying to establish the run when they didn't really have to. It's like that was the thing that they were going to do. They were going to establish the run in that moment, and you're wanting maybe more from those 3 possessions or whatever it was. And you could feel it. I think we even talked about it on the broadcast. I understand wanting to establish the run, and we'll get to the run game here in a little bit. But that felt like the moment right there. And Taylor, I don't know if you agree, like in the third quarter, it just felt like, not that you took the foot off the gas pedal, but you were trying to force something that wasn't there.
You were trying to force a running game that wasn't there is what you were doing, because you were just talking about Aaron Anderson. When you had that drive with John Emery, you put him in there, he's running hard. You throw the out route to Aaron Anderson, he scores, you make it 17-13. I was looking at the people I was watching the game with, and I'm like, you can force a 3 and out, get this ball back and score again, this game's over.
Yeah.
You're up by 11 at that point in the fourth quarter. The defense forces the 3 and out, and your offense stalled out. And that's really when they continued to stall out. You kind of took the game out of Garrett Nussmeier's hands, which I did not like. You were not creative enough getting the ball to Kyron Lacey in big moments, which Kelly talked about yesterday. Yeah. Kelly said he has to touch the ball every single quarter. He did not. That was one of the big disappointments, because I think if you go down the field 24-13, you finally establish a running game. You have back-to-back scores with a 3 and out. I think that's it. I think you have all the momentum in this game.
Yeah, you certainly had chances to take that game over. Brian Kelly talked about it. We've all talked about it, and that was the thing, again, one of the things that was frustrating to him in his post-game presser was the fact that you had the ball up 17-13 twice in the fourth quarter and didn't take advantage of that. And again, like, this isn't the same film that I watched a year ago against Florida State. There was some good things, but certainly not good enough to win the game, and that's what's troublesome. And we talked about the run game. And look, I'm not here to call out anybody that's had shows from the game Sunday until now, right? But when you say the run game, like, I need you to tell me examples and give me reasons why, and maybe people why it wasn't, like, as far as personnel, why it wasn't working. Because when I watch the tape, was the offensive line perfect in the run game? No, they weren't. I mean, they were really good in pass protection, but I watched the tight ends in the run game, and that was the weakest link. That's where you have to get better. The tight ends on this team were the lowest graded run blockers you had in the game. We're starting to see some video coming out of USC's linebackers kind of big boying some of the tight end play, right? And if you're going to be a team that establishes the run, and anybody that's played any level of football really knows this, the tight ends have to be a major factor in the run game. Certainly now, and look, I mean, this is a little tongue-in-cheek, but not really, when you don't have fullbacks anymore. Like, if you don't have fullbacks, you're going to be in 12 personnel. 12 personnel is going to be 1 back, 2 tight ends, and 2 receivers. And you've got a very talented group as far as pass catchers. One of the best that there is in the SEC probably as far as pass catchers. But you have to establish the run with your offensive line, with your tight ends, and with your running backs. And we'll get to the running backs in a little bit. Too much sideways and backwards on contact. Like, that's not something that we saw in camp. And we haven't seen that in some of these guys' career. We saw it on Sunday, but I want to talk about the tight ends. Alondra, it's Kelly 17 here. I think it's the last one on the sheet, talking about that 12 personnel package and where it needs to go.
2 and 3 tight ends, that package needs to continue to grow. We have to be able to use it as an offensive weapon as well. We can't just put 2 tight ends on the field and say, we're running the ball. It's got to be 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends on the field, and we've got to have some spacing and some vertical throws and things of that nature. So that's growing, and that has to grow here over the next, month or so.
It does. If you're going to be what we think you can be and what we talked about you being, that group has to raise their level of play in the run game. It is what it is. Like, Mason Taylor was fantastic in the game in a lot of areas. Struggled a little bit in the run game. Pimpton really struggled in the run game. Okay, and look, there's videos going across the internet of him getting blown up, coming across the formation. Look, those things happen. Everybody gets got. It's not just the blow-up plays, right? Everybody that's played football, that's been a puller, that's been a run blocker, you get got by somebody. That happens. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not just one particular play. It's in the totality of the game. If you're going to commit to the run, and again, it felt like that's what LSU is going to do in portions of every single game they play in, as much as the offensive line's been talked about, and again, I'm not trying to besmirch anybody, but go watch the tape. The offensive line had moments in the run game. The tight ends never really had that moment, and they have to. You can't just be one-dimensional. And look, I've seen Mason Taylor block. I've seen him be a willing blocker, and he certainly can handle his own. But if Pimpton's going to play, if Green's going to play, right, you lost a tight end in camp that's now in Wisconsin, and that was your run-blocking tight end. You have to raise that if you want to be the team with the identity that you think you can go out there and have. As far as the running backs, I don't know if BK talked about the running back rotation yesterday. He did? All right,
He did. I have it.
All right, let's play that sound real quick, and then we'll react to it.
I don't know that we have one. I think we have to continue to let this thing play out. Obviously, John did a lot of really good things. Josh does a really nice job in the things that we're asking. I think what we're down to is John continues to play. He's coming off an ACL. You're going to see him get better and better, and I think he just adds to the strength of the group. But I also think we've got to find ways to accentuate the strengths of each one of these backs. They're not all inside zone runners. They're not all guys that run a particular play well, and I think that's what we're kind of navigating now.
So the one thing that stood out to me, and he's right, we talked about it. I mean, we talked about it on this show, on the pregame show, on every show. They're different backs. All three of them have a different skill set. And so I agree, and I understand wholeheartedly what he's saying there. The thing that, to me, stood out on tape that was surprising was John Emery was the only back in this game that fell forward and brought the blow and never really took that shot. Even on the pass that he caught, it was a 10-yard pass. It was a nice play. He had a decision. He could, kind of go out of bounds right there, maybe try to move back inside. And he said, no, I'm going to lower my head, and I'm going to punish the defender for a yard and a half. The yards don't really matter. It was almost like it was a message. I'm going to impose my will because I can right here. This is a spot where I can go out of bounds or I can gain a yard, half a yard, but he can feel me. He can feel my presence here. And John did that consistently with his runs. The other backs, we know they can do it. We have seen them do it, but they didn't do it. Kind of going sideways, going backwards when they get hit. I mean, there's a couple of real shots in the game that I felt like you could hear in the press box almost. That's not who we've seen them to be. But John Emery's somebody that, during training camp, he wasn't like in and out of the lineup, but there was things like he was limited. He's coming off an ACL. Like he's on some special teams that, you got to take him out because it's like, man, coming off an ACL, how much can you really go? Well, however much that was in the game in Las Vegas, he's going to take full advantage of every one of those reps. By far the highest graded as far as ground attack in the game wasn't even close. In fact, Xavier Thomas in his one carry had a higher grade than the other backs. And so I just think that's a position that's going to be a running back by committee. There's going to be different guys all season long. But I'd love to see that mentality that we saw from Emory, from everybody moving forward. Because, look, we know Josh Williams can do it. Like, we have seen him have big runs and second-level punish defenders. And we've been talking about Caleb Jackson doing it all offseason. That's like a lot of times we start bringing up running back and everybody's stopped us in our tracks to talk about Caleb Jackson. And look, we all get why. We played the highlight of him running the counter all the way. We played the highlight of him running over a linebacker, right? But that's got to go from the practice field to the game field. And so that was the one thing that did stand out to me about the running backs and kind of that rotation is John Emery was out there trying to punish defenders. And that was a very physical football game. And I credit USC for being physical. That was not the team that we saw on film. And they were the aggressor in a lot of one-on-one battles. And it was nice kind of on tape again to see Emery run behind his pads and have a pretty big day and give LSU an opportunity. Certainly in that one drive that was like the John Emery drive. So, okay, as you can tell, there's a lot to get to. We're kind of going position by position. We'll continue this probably throughout hour number one, and we'll step away. More of it when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. I'll probably be calling Aaron today. Got to get a new battery in the car, but I have no worries that that's going to get done because that's what kind of customer service you're going to get with All-Star. And you can buy new, you can lease, and you can rent. And the best part about it is everything is available in all three of the processes. So if you're buying new, like, that's obvious. They're going to have everything they have available. They're going to have all the makes that they have, and you're going to have multiple color options. But when you're leasing, you don't always get that. Certainly you don't get it when you're renting. But everything that they have available, right? And remember, it's always going to be a lot. Sequoia, Sienna, if you need something big. If you need a midsize SUV, Highlander, 4Runner. If you need a truck, Tundra, Tacoma. If you need a sedan, multiple options. If you need a hybrid, even more options. So when you go visit All-Star, just know you have options, and they're going to meet your needs and your family's needs. Go to the website today. Find your next vehicle at allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in. OTB 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I do want to keep playing some of this Brian Kelly and shocking events, by the way. We will have flustering today. I did just get confirmation of that. I would have bet a lot of doll hairs that would not have gotten done. And look, not throwing shade at my guy Flynn, but he was in Vegas. I think he was there as long as we were, and so I thought maybe he'd have some My High business to attend to, but we are going to be able to break down Garrett Nussmeier. Flynn was in attendance for the game, obviously, so we're going to be able to break down Garrett Nussmeier and what he thought of his performance, because there was so much good in what Garrett Nussmeier did, and I think certainly can handle more. And I know it's been a lot of the conversation, certainly in that third quarter. Again, man, that one throw is going to be something that we talk about and graded on, and it was really the only throw that you would sit there and put on the quarterback. Outside of that, he had such an efficient – it was a high-level game. It's one of the things that stood out to me rewatching. It felt like it on the broadcast, but you never know. I mean, things are moving fast. Again, like you're up high, so you can kind of see it, but then you're watching replays, and it's quick, right? It's quick. And then, the voice gets it back, and he's setting the stage for the next play, and you kind of forget about that play that you just saw because you got to get ready for the next play. But it was a high level for the most part, outside of some penalties, which we'll talk about. You had a turnover at the end. I'm not going to count that as a turnover as far as the game play. You're trying to make a play where you throw the ball and they pitch it around 73 times and see if you can score a touchdown. Like, sure, it's happened before, but that's not high percentage. And so Nuss does an interception there. But for the most part, it was a really clean game, well-played game. I thought Miller Moss was really good. I thought USC's receivers were really good. I thought the defense, though, at times did make winning plays. Watching the tape, it didn't look related, not even a third cousin, to what we saw on tape a year ago, and that is encouraging. This defense is better, will continue to get better, and Brian Kelly talked about this one. Alondra, it's Brian Kelly 9. He talked about the improvements and what he saw from the defense.
We got really good play from our defensive tackle position. Very consistent play. We got depth play at the defensive end position. Really good play there. I liked our linebacker play, and I liked our corners. We've got to get more production at the safety position. It's got to be better for us. So production there is key for us moving forward.
And I think, Taylor, you played that one a little bit earlier, but just in case anybody missed it, I kind of agree. Like, that was the assessment of the tape from me. Now, it wasn't perfect by any means. I know you had a free play, and it was a one-on-one situation, and USC, again, in the fourth quarter, they went and made a play. And you were right there, and you didn't make the play. And those are things that, obviously are going to flash to you on tape. But last year, you weren't even in position to make that play. And the corners are young, and we talked about that. And it does feel like they were moving in the right direction. Safety is going to be interesting. I thought there were some good things that Jordan Allen did. I certainly thought that he had some plays in the contest, but I wonder what Spears' role is going to be moving forward. Like, how young do you want to be is going to be my question in the defensive backfield. And Taylor, I'll throw this one back to you because it's a position that you've probably talked about more than even T-Bob and I. Do you get nervous? Okay, so Gilbert was in there, struggled. They targeted him. He got beat a couple times. He's out this first half. Is there a worry that if you put another young player into the secondary that you're basically going to have all young players in all 4 positions?
Yeah, it's a worry for sure. That's why I mentioned Sage Ryan earlier. Like, I get it. A lot of people have certain opinions of Sage Ryan, and I understand he hasn't lived up to the 5-star hype, but he also came to LSU to play safety. He has not played safety here at LSU. He came in, he took over the nickel spot last year out of necessity, and this year he's played corner. Could you move him back there? But also, Nicholls is as good a game as any, probably better than most, to get a guy like Deshaun Spears in there and get him ready. So, like, yeah, it's a concern for me, but I thought Ashton Stamps looked really good on one side of the field. I hated that he gave up that late touchdown because I thought he played really good until then.
He was your highest graded defender.
Also, you were at the game. Where was J.K. Johnson? Because he was a guy that was in the starting rotation a lot of times during fall camp. I mean, him and Sage Ryan were rotating out quite a bit. I don't think I saw him play a snap. Now, he hadn't played a ton of football, but, I mean, that's a veteran player who's been in college a lot.
I didn't have him on my production chart as far as playing in the game. I know Brown, the other transfer from Ohio State, he played probably about 10 snaps. And he wasn't – so Brown gets in the game, and number 17, and it's a player that we all know. I mean, he's coming over from Ohio State, but we all have our charts. And we use multiple sites to get these, and we confirm everything with each school, right? And Brown's like not on the chart. So like that's a player we know, but certainly was not expecting him to play, Taylor. So I don't know. I don't know where J.K. Johnson is. I don't know his status, but that was a player that you thought would play ahead of Brown, and Brown played 10 snaps, and I don't have J.K. Johnson on the chart as far as playing in the game. So that might be something to find out here this week. I do want to continue talking about the edge players, and we talked about Savion Jones, but also Braden Swinson had a couple of nice moments. He did a really nice job of setting the edge and playing in the zone read and playing both the running back and the quarterback. Going back and watching the tape, you can kind of watch Miller Moss's eyes, and he definitely had the ability to pull the ball if he wanted to on some of those zone runs. But I thought Swinson did a really nice job of staying right there, not giving him that option, but also being fast enough and quick enough in his thought process to get down the line and then tackle Marks. He actually probably 2 or 3 different times, he was the one that got Marks coming from the backside. And I bring that up because on the flip side of it, if we're going back to LSU on offense and we're talking about the run game, and again, the easy target's the offensive line. They were the most heralded coming in, and when you think run game, if you don't watch a tape, you're thinking, oh, offensive line, it's only offensive line. And again, they can certainly raise their level of play. There was some good, but there can be better, without question. But then we start talking about the tight end position and where they really need to go up. Again, 2 lowest graded players in the run game on offense were your 2 tight ends. But also the thing that it wasn't, you didn't have to watch the film. During the broadcast, if you listen to me, I said it 73 times, and it was probably like, okay, we get it, but I was waiting for it. They added an extra defender into your run game because they did not, feel threatened at all by Garrett Nussmeier pulling the football and running around the corner. And a year ago, you were terrified if you played LSU to not have your edge defender hold point and just wait for Jaden Daniels. Now, this isn't necessarily like Garrett Nussmeier is a great pocket passer. He is what he is, right? But I was surprised that at some point that wasn't something that they came back to, because when I say the edge defender came down the line every single time with his hair on fire, he didn't even remotely think about the possibility of Garrett Nussmeier pulling any of these zone reads and running around the corner. So basically you're adding an extra run defender into your run defense, because normally that guy who's setting the edge, well, he's going to kind of hold point, right? It's probably going to strong arm you. He's going to try to keep his shoulders square to the quarterback. He's going to try to play both. And he's going to be late getting into any play that's going to be made on the front side of it where the running back is trying to press the front side before he cuts backside. And so you get an extra body because that guy, yes, he's in the play, but he's worried about two things, so he's a slow player because he has to be. That's what the defense calls for. Well, they're adding an extra guy in because when the ball was snapped, that edge defender was trying to go through the blocker or inside the blocker. Like the crucial third down where you hurried up, and we'll get to that. It's not my favorite thing in the world. Where you hurried up and you try to get on the ball, 3rd and 1, and you get hit in the backfield. That edge defender goes right across Pimpton's face. I mean, right across it. Right now, didn't think about it, didn't care. That's something that on tape they've already noticed. There's no question about it. And now, how much do you put on Garrett Nussmeier 3 times a game to keep the defense honest and pull that? And I'll see, we're not supposed to play clips on here. I know, like, it's not something we used to, and now we don't have really the ability to do so. But maybe we can find a TV copy of it because we'll show you exactly what we're talking about. And so defensively, that gives you the advantage if the offense is not going to counter off of it. Pimpton's got to be better. That was not a great attempt. But also, the defender knew where he was going immediately and didn't worry about his responsibility. That is something that I would, probably not even this week against Nicholls, but against South Carolina on the road, do not be surprised if you see Garrett Nussmeier pretty early in the game pull one of those zone reads and run around the corner for 11 yards. So, again, we'll try to get a clip of what we're talking about, but you also had USC adding a run defender basically every single time that there was any kind of an inside run. All right, we'll step away. Again, Flynn is in today. Can't wait to get his full breakdown of what he saw in Las Vegas. We'll be back. More OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to Tommy's. That's GEAUX, Tommy's with a Y.com. That's Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. And the website is a great tool. You can find all the information, what they can do for you. Now, obviously, you can check out the windows, the doors, and yes, the siding, and also some of the other services that they provide. But we tell you every single day, like the testimonial page is a great resource. You'll be able to go to it, see exactly what kind of work they can do for you. A gallery of work as well. So pictures, give you an example of, hey, here's what Tommy can come in and do. But I do always remind you, if you don't see it in the gallery, don't worry, okay? Because they can customize your job. Like anything that you need, they can get it done. And they're going to come out, great team. I mean, you'll love Tommy and the team. They're going to come out, you tell them exactly what you're looking for, and they are going to make sure that that gets done. So again, check out the website, gotommys.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in, OTB. Got flastering coming up in about 10 minutes from now. Going to keep on with some of this Brian Kelly sound reacting to the game. And again, we'll break it down with Flynn once he gets here. DJ Chester starting at center for the first time. It was a position that we talked about. No bad snaps, Taylor. You mentioned right before we came back on there. That was something that you said you saw and a lot of people saw in camp. So no bad snaps. That's a plus.
No, he actually played well.
He did play well.
I was worried about that. Because think about it. He was the only guy that was not the returning starter and at a position like center. You're going to have your eye on him. But nope, snaps were perfect. That's all I cared about.
He had a nice day in pass protection. And run grade-wise, he was kind of right there with Will Campbell and Emory Jones and others. And so I thought he had a pretty nice debut. Now, he did miss one, I believe, if it looks like on the film copy, kind of the protection. Dellinger and him have a guy right at the A-gap on the 4th down. And again, talked about with Nussmeier, like played so well. It's that one play. It's that one play in a game like that could change that game. And that was the one time it looked like Chester was supposed to slide and pick that up and didn't get it done. But here is Brian Kelly on DJ Chester in his first start.
I thought DJ played very well. I really liked his communication. You know, we had the one time where he moved the ball, but overall, snaps were really good for his first time in there. It was really loud, louder than I thought it would be in those situations. So given the circumstances of his first start, you know, the D lineman over him was pretty stout, and he handled the guy on his nose a lot. That is a lot for a first-time starter, and I thought he handled himself.
Yeah, and look, the film kind of shows that as well. Again, the offensive line can be better in the run game. I thought they were great in pass protection. In the run game, it can go up. There's no question. But it wasn't just the offensive line. Like, I'll keep coming back to it. If LSU is going to be the team they want to be on the ground, the tight ends have to raise their level of play 2 times from what they did in Las Vegas, and the offensive line still does need to go up, but the tight ends were the thing that flashed as far as those issues have to get fixed immediately in the run game. But for his first start, I thought DJ Chester, who had an SEC player in front of him. I mean, the guy that he was going against was a Vanderbilt transfer. Hey, we can say that now without a smile on our face because Vanderbilt beat Virginia Tech. So it's no longer a joke. By the way, in the old pontoon parlay, T-Bob missed that one.
Oh, I can't wait for him to get back. I mentioned it yesterday.
All right, so you went Boston College, right?
We put out our parlays. I explained to Alondra that he liked yours. He liked Muso's. T-Bob hated mine. Mine hit. His didn't. So.
Mine hit? Yeah.
Yours hit as well.
Yeah. Moose said South Dakota State, right?
Yeah, plus 10.
It did
that
not
did
hit.
not.
No. Didn't even really have a chance. Oklahoma State kind of leaned on him a little bit. Hey, at least you're not Florida State. They're 0-2 and 0-2 in conference play. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about, all jokes aside. Like for you at LSU, Still a ton in front of you, right? But you have to realize for another year, there's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do this weekend that's going to change anyone's opinion of you. Doesn't matter if you went 70-0. Doesn't matter. You've done that. You did it against Southern. You did it against Grambling. When you go on the road against South Carolina, it's hard to win on the road in the SEC. Nobody's going to care. Last year at Mississippi State, you won that one. It's like, oh, okay, sure. You come back, you got South Alabama. You can win that game 35-0. Nobody's going to care. So you could go out and you can go win all those games and nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care again until you play Ole Miss at home later in the season. You're not going to get attaboys, and that's what you have to know is not coming. It's going to be loud. It's going to be real loud. Even if you win, it's going to be loud. And you have to do the impossible. You just got to put your head down and go to work. And if your love language is affirmation, you're in trouble because you're not going to get it. And that's what you're dealing with for a third year in a row. They've done it the last 2 years. We'll see if they can get it done again this year. Flestering here on OTB when we come back.
Off the bench.
All right, go to actempbr.com. actempbr.com. Service to the highest degree is their tagline, and they certainly do mean that. I mean, you can check out the reviews on their website. You can check out the reviews on Google. The internet hates everything, and they love AccuTemp because that's what kind of service you're going to get. And look, that's why that can be your tagline, service to the highest degree, because you know exactly what it is. Okay, so go to the website today, see what they can do for you. So many different things can go right, but they also can go wrong with your AC, and it's still like, let's see, September the 4th, you still gonna need that thing, and you're gonna need it for a while. And so if you need a tune-up, have them come out. You can schedule that appointment online right there on the top right corner of the website. They can tell you exactly who is coming into your home. You can get a profile of who is coming into your home, and you're going to get it done and get it done right the first time. AccuTempBR.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Good morning. It's 8 a.m. here on Wednesday, September 4th. Today in Baton Rouge, you can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 94 in hour 2 of today's show. Matt Flynn drops by the studio for a full hour of flustering. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 104.5 ESPN channel. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let's go, baby, let's go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, and welcome back in. OTB, no T-Bob Hebert. He is out today, but we are going to have Matt Flynn coming up here in a couple of minutes. And reading through the chat, and we didn't get a chance to do mailbag or anything yesterday. We were out, but a lot of the conversation is about season openers and how difficult the schedule is and what that looks like in the future. And look, I'm sure that y'all know, but you've got Clemson coming up on the road next year. You play the Clemson Tigers. Now, Clemson is not the program that they were when you played them in 2019. We all know that, but you've got a series with them. You've got a series with Houston. You've got a series with Arizona State. At least I know Arizona State's coming back to Baton Rouge. I don't know what, it's not the return trip from 2005 where they were supposed to come here, because you go back on the road against Arizona State in 2030. So, that's what it looks like. You got Clemson, you got Houston, you got Arizona State. Now, those programs aren't where they've been in the past. Like Houston right now, they got more issues than Vogue. Arizona State looked a little bit better against Wyoming. Who knows where Clemson is going to be, but that's kind of where it is. And I wonder if teams are going to shy away from what we've seen over the last couple of years, playing these big marquee matchups. Look, I liked him as a player. I liked having a game all offseason to kind of point to and get ready, and knew you couldn't take any kind of day off. But I don't know if that continues. And Taylor, I'll throw this one at you. In a 12-team playoff, do you think that scheduling those big marquee matchups, will we see teams shy away from that? Because, look, Ohio State doesn't play a Power 4 team in the non-conference this year. Doesn't play one. They play Group of 5 and Big Ten. Michigan last year, same situation. So in a 12-team playoff, you don't necessarily have to have that marquee win anymore like you did in the 14 playoff.
No, I don't think it matters at all. Now, in the BCS, it was big. Strength of schedule was big. And then the eye test for the top 4 teams, those tough out-of-conference schedule may matter. For this, every conference winner gets an automatic bid. And then we've looked at the Big Ten and the SEC, and we said, hey, the top 3 schools are probably going to get in. At that point, just win your conference games. Don't worry about who you play out of conference.
Yeah, and going back to the BCS, the Virginia Tech game is a big reason why we got into the national championship, because they went to the Orange Bowl that year, and we beat them a lot to a little. Don't remember the exact score. Do you remember the score, Matthew? 40.
Was it 48-7?
Maybe. That sounds good. 45-7.
Right. I'll look it up.
Good. Defense gave up a touchdown.
It was late.
Cam Chancellor. Who?
Cam Chancellor.
Love that guy,
Brandon Flowers. Xavier DB.
I know. Why they suck so bad that week?
Tyrod Taylor.
48-7.
We were that was
Eddie Royal.
Before the I know everybody has excuse, everyone gets injured during the year, but that was the last game we were a healthy team until the national championship.
Ohio State, yeah. What's up, sir? I I'm glad to see you. I'm surprised to see you.
Out of breath. I ran up the
for you.
stairs.
Yeah,
You know,
appreciate that.
like Baton Rouge, I love you, but sometimes you suck, man. Golly. I left 5 minutes. I was like, week 1, I'm leaving 5 minutes early today. Definitely going to get there.
Yeah.
Have time to, like, go to the bathroom before I get there.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go during the show.
Right.
Nope.
Smart.
Traffic.
How's Vegas? I saw you a couple different times.
It was good. It was a tough first day back at work yesterday.
It
was a long, 3 days in Vegas.
That's why I'm surprised that you're here.
It's too many.
Not because you're not going to honor your commitment, but because you were in Vegas for about as long as we were.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he's going to have a lot of my high to catch up on.
A lot of my high. Yeah, it was good. It was a great weekend. It was great. Vegas, like, LSU fans came by the mini, and shout out to them. Didn't see any USC fans till like the last day, but like shout out to them too. There was more USC fans in the stadium than I thought there would be.
Yeah, because I mean LSU fans got there Thursday.
Yeah, right.
And USC got there like Saturday night.
Yeah,
maybe Sunday morning.
Sunday afternoon for sure. But no, it was a really good weekend. Until Sunday.
Until it wasn't. It's such a weird film to watch because there were so many good moments and kind of how I've started the show. Watching the film from even the last 2 years against Florida State. Sure, 2 years ago you had a chance and that game was crazy. You got a block extra point. You didn't play well. It was real sloppy actually. And you found a way back in and Florida State fumbled on the goal line because they were pitching it on the 1 yard line when all they had to do was basically run the clock. We all know how it played out, but it wasn't a pretty game to watch. I felt different watching this one.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of good in this game. I thought the defense, were they perfect? No, but they fought like hell. And they were in the right position, which they weren't a year ago. I thought Nuss had a really good day. The receivers had a good day. The tight end struggled in the run game. We've talked about that. The offensive line certainly can go up there. I thought John Emery had a really nice day. The other running backs, you'd like to see them run behind their pads a little bit more, minus a little. Okay, that's actually got to go up a lot. God, really for Nuss, it was one throw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I mean, the biggest throw in the game, but it was one throw. But for his first regular season start, I thought there was a lot of good.
Yeah, I guess we can start with Nuss for sure. Yeah, I thought he played really well. Threw the ball extremely accurately. Wasn't allowed. I thought USC had a good game plan against their passing game. I really did. And again, this is all coming from me from watching from the stands. I didn't go back and watch the TV copy or anything. So I was watching from a pretty low view on the stand. So I wasn't able to see everything.
You had a low view. I was in Reno in the press box. It was at the top of the stadium.
Really?
I mean, it was high up there.
That's where they put media, like the call.
Yeah,
people doing the call.
Yeah. Which I mean, some people like. If I'm up that high, I want to be in the end zone. I like an end zone.
Yeah, you want the end zone copy. No, I thought he did. I mean, especially for his first start in a regular season game, like being the guy, getting out there. I thought he threw the ball extremely accurate, which didn't surprise me. I know everyone keeps talking about that one play. That's the one throw that he had, and if he makes that throw, we're not even talking about that play because it was an easy throw. But I mean, how many times have I said, as a quarterback, the hardest throw to make as a quarterback is a guy wide open in the flat. Just because you're like, oh my God, just put it on him because I'm going to look so terrible if I miss this.
And they hit that earlier in the game for a touchdown.
Right.
I mean, not the same exact play, but it was the same concept.
Yep. It's just unfortunate, when you play a game, to miss something like that because that's what everyone's going to talk about. But at the end of the day, you got to make the play. I mean, you do. But overall, man, a lot to build off of, a lot for Tiger fans, I think, to be excited about as far as the offensive go, how the receivers played, how Nuss played. But again, I thought USC did a really good job. I thought they had a good game plan against us. They didn't allow us to take a lot of shots. I mean, Garrett Nuss had to take a lot of checkdowns, which I was cheering so hard. Him coming down to his third 4-3, taking checkdowns, did a great job with it. But he's people around me were like, "Oh, throw it down the field," which you want to see as a fan.
Yeah.
But it's like, look, he's taking what they're only giving him these stop routes outside.
Yeah.
They're only giving him these short throws, and he's making them, and he's making good throws, tightly contested balls, putting them on the outside shoulder. I mean, he made a lot of throws out there, which looked from where I was saying was the only throw to make at the time. But if he doesn't throw it perfect, it's a pick or a pick six. And he made some big league throws. I thought that a lot of people that only got 4, 5, 6 yards.
Yeah.
But they kept them on time and on schedule. But they're things that if he makes little tiny mistakes, then they're going the other way. So I thought he did a good job. Run game. I thought we were. We've been saying it for a couple of years. Like, I didn't think we were dynamic enough in the run game. I heard you talking about the 3rd and 1 on the hurry-up call.
I am not a fan of the hurry up.
But yeah, I'm not a fan on the hurry up on the run play. I mean,
everybody in the stadium knows you're going to run it anyways, and so you're like,
it's okay. Like,
you're trying to catch them off guard, but they know you're running it.
Yeah.
So they literally had 10 guys inside the box at 5 yards.
Yep.
Or shorter.
And I guess it's okay because you can catch some defensive tackles on their heels or breathing hard, and you can get an extra step on them. But don't let the defensive end free. Like, bring a receiver in to just cut the backside off.
I mean, the tight end was there. He just got beat right across his face. The guy Pimpton who caught the pass to set up, because remember you start off with a penalty. You have I think he actually had a negative play. You had a negative play, and so it's 2nd and 15. You hit 14-yarder, 3rd and 1, and you just get beat right. And who was it earlier in the chat? Bilbo's like, let's see. Yeah, just call it like it is. O-line's overrated. Okay, Bilbo, I don't have stock in this offensive line, but when I watch the tape, sure. Like, pass protection, by the way, they were fantastic. In the run game, there was good things. Now, there was not perfect things by any means from the offensive line. The tight end position was your lowest graded run blockers in this game. If you know football, your tight ends in the run game are offensive linemen. They're an extension of the offensive line in the run game. And if you're running stuff where they're the pullers, which they ran a ton of counter, and I agree with you, like, counter doesn't have to be the only. If you're running counter that much and you're dominating, keep running it.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then you switch it up.
They were ready for the counter.
They were. And the tight ends in the run game, your lowest graded run blockers, if you want to establish the run, you know this, and if you don't have a fullback, like the tight ends are going to be that other extension of the offensive line, it's not going to work well. Does the offensive line need to run block better? Yeah, for sure. But the tight ends have to come a long way. If you want to be that team, if that's your identity and who you want to be, that has to go up.
Tight ends, they got to, I don't know. I was kind of excited about I thought the tight end group, from everything I heard, was looking really good, like in the run game.
Pass catchers, I thought they were fantastic. And look, Taylor's got a couple of shots here. If you're watching this on YouTube, right? When you're the second puller, okay, trying to go inside football here on radio and make it make sense. Mm-hmm. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, even if you are watching this on YouTube, right, this is something that might not be known to you, okay? When you're the second puller on a play like this, so you've got your left guard pulling, he's supposed to kick out, and he can do better. He can do a better job here, but there was a stalemate, okay? A stalemate can be a win. But when you're the second puller like that, you're expecting contact at any point, and your body has to be ready for contact at any point. You have to, like, you're running this. That's why I like fullbacks.
What down is this? What are we watching here? This is first. This isn't the short. This isn't the 3rd or 4th down. This
was. I'm trying to think of the situation.
First of all, they're not respecting any bootleg
at all, and we talked about that, and they added an extra defender. Now this backside guy's going to get there because, again, all night long he did not care. He did not even worry about number 13 pulling the football. It wasn't in his thought process.
I'm okay with that, actually. Like, Nuss
With
is your
which
guy.
part?
Like I feel like there's a pretty big with Nuss not having the option to pull it. You just have to. You have to game plan around it, right? Like there's such
Either
a big
that,
drop.
or you got to remember. Like Peyton Manning used to do this all the time. Peyton couldn't run out of sight in a week. It's just it is what it is.
I mean,
right?
we think there's,
but
a
he would pull it every once in a while to keep you honest.
Yeah,
you certainly don't have this as your game plan.
You can do other things, like you can slip tight ends out. Like that's what I was saying. The play side defenders here aren't respected any tight end.
No.
Like shadow them, then go to the flat. Like you have to have that look.
Yeah, and look, if you're gonna be a tight end and you're going to pull, man, you have to act like you're running the football, and you've got to be ready for contact, and you've got to bring the contact. If you tiptoe as the puller on a counter, the first puller for sure, and we saw some of that, but when you're the second puller, you should never be straight up like that, or that's what's going to happen to you. So those are things that with reps, because it's a really nice job, Emory Jones, of crashing down and creating a lane right there. But that's – people are like roll their eyes. That's why I always like fullbacks in that spot, because a lot of fullbacks are former running backs in high school or college.
Yeah.
And so they have that runability where they're running the second puller like they have the football.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with their pads low.
You have to give the running back, the ball carrier, like a read. You have to give him daylight to look at and to know where to. So you have to not make the perfect block. You have to make a full speed block. Whether you get him locked up or not, you have to make that defender go inside or outside of you. You have to make him go where you want him to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's a perfect block. Thump him.
Yeah.
Thump him hard. Because if he's thumped hard, the running back, like especially if you're the second puller, that running back's going to be on your heels.
Yeah.
It's not like you got to pull. Like sometimes in power, a guard has to pull. He's got to make the good block and lock him up and be on him for a half second, 1 second. Like if you're the second puller, it's all about full speed, and you torpedo his inside shoulder, his outside shoulder, his nose, whatever you do, and it creates daylight. And even if he's not locked up and he just like gets backed up a little bit,
a stalemate's a win.
Like for a split second, there's a collision point where both people are like shaking a little bit, right?
Yeah,
and like
that's the good stuff.
This is coming from a quarterback, so I
no,
didn't
but
do
that's the
this
good
a lot.
stuff. You're right.
But like it gives that running back a read, and like there, I mean, that's just
and
it's just clogging up.
It's clogging up the hole. The guy's in my lap now. It's just like on the flip side of it. If you've got bad defensive tackle play and you're a linebacker and the D tackle's getting dominated, he's in your lap. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you don't know what to do because you got a player in front of you and he's not giving you a read. Same thing on offense.
Yep.
And those are the things that if that's going to be who you are, and look, I guarantee you they're coaching the hell out of that right now. But if that's going to be who you are, if you want to be that team, that has to go up 7 notches. Because again, you can't be a counter run team and then have your tight ends be the lowest graded players in the run game.
Yeah, and like if I'm coaching it today, I'm saying I don't care if you miss the guy completely. Like I can coach aiming point.
Yeah.
Like we can talk aiming point all day long, but you can't pitter patter into the block. But again, let's sit here and give credit to USC. I think to their physicality,
absolutely
defense. I mean, I don't think we expected it as fans.
No.
I'm sure that the LSU coaches had prepared them for that mentally, but I'm sure deep down they didn't expect it that much. That was a different USC defense than we've seen, and credit to them. They played a really good game. I thought the game overall was a very high-quality first football game of the season.
I said that earlier. It was a clean game.
It was clean, yeah.
No turnovers, honestly, outside of Nuss's last pass, you're trying to make a play, and it's going to be a pitch around thing, and he threw an interception there. But
sure.
And the penalties that you had, a lot of them were easy ones to create, self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Like you get personal fouls, which
first game, man. I mean, you're playing so hard, so fast, and man, you're so tired of seeing. As an LSU player, you're so tired of hitting somebody else with a yellow helmet on. It's not excusable, but it's kind of understandable a little bit, I guess, for everybody. I mean, I would think that from a personal foul standpoint, week one's always like across the board for every team. It's probably up a little bit.
They cost you in this one. They cost you points.
Yeah.
And, from veteran players. And Brian Kelly talked on that and talked about different emotions of the game. But, yeah, that was certainly – I'm going back to it because, like, it wasn't a game where the 10 penalties were – now, the false starts, the illegal snap, like those are things certainly you're going to see in week number 1. So –
yeah. I would have really liked to win that game.
Yeah, no kidding.
That would have been a lot more fun.
The walk back. Let me tell you something. The walk back. From where the booth, like we do post game, and then I sat there and I listened to Brian Kelly's presser because it was on the TV and on the speakers in the press box. And so I was a little bit late getting out of the stadium. And so because I was late, all the LSU fans had already gone. They're like, I ain't sitting around for this. Well, USC's fans stayed, obviously, and celebrated. The walk back to the hotel, which wasn't a short walk, I was hearing it from every angle because I had my purple polo on, my LSU Sports Radio Network polo. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, choose your battles. Which one? What are you going to say here? What can you say? You just lost.
Yep. Look, besides the sun, there ain't nothing good about California, let's be honest. It's full of Californians.
You have to understand, this man paid taxes in California like I did, and we're hurt by it.
Disrespected by it a little bit.
It's a lot of money.
When's that? What's that fault line over there?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
San Andreas?
Yeah. Okay. As a rock movie, San Andreas.
Yep.
Yeah. Of course it was. All right.
Of course it was. What does that mean?
I mean, The Rock. How many movies can that guy make? It's just, jeez, Page, man. It's the same movie.
What actor in Hollywood has the most credits in a movie? It's got to be Samuel L.
You got to be. Or William Dafoe.
William Dafoe?
He's got a lot of movies.
I only know of like a handful.
Denzel's got a lot.
Denzel's
bangers.
I don't know if anyone's got more than Samuel L. We got to look this up.
We can look it up during the break. Last thing about the run game. Shotgun. 3rd and 1.
Love it.
Tell me why.
Well, so I got into this talk this weekend with somebody about it.
I figured you did.
And they asked me the same thing. So what do you think about on 3rd or 4th and short shotgun? And I said, well, okay, so I know the argument against it. Like you're snapping the ball away from the line of scrimmage. But if you're taking the snap underneath the center, you're running away from the line of scrimmage. The quarterback's running away from it. So it's the same thing. The handoff point, the mesh point's probably pretty similar to each other. I would like pistol more than.
I like pistol much better as a running back because in gun, and Flynn's heard me say this 1,000 times, in 07 we ran out of gun a ton. Croton loved it. I didn't. Because, all right, your feet are planted, and you're going sideways to go forward. It's so hard, no matter what you're running. Even if you're running like same side counter or power where you shuffle in, you're still shuffling towards the quarterback to go forward. You have no momentum going. If I'm in pistol and you're in gun, my toes are at 7. You're probably heels at 5. And I can still open step cross over a zone. I can still get my momentum going on a power, right? The little hop step, but I'm still going downhill. As a runner, I hate it on 3rd and 1, go sideways to go forward. It's not even a gun or under center conversation.
Sure.
It's the motion of me creating enough momentum. If they have a free blocker, guy that's coming that he laid or whatever, and here comes a free defender because you missed the block, like I at least have momentum to try to lower my shoulder and move the pile for a 1.5 yards.
Yeah, I agree with it. I mean, I think pistol became really popular for a few years, like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and
Nevada.
I don't know why
Kaepernick.
I don't know why it became unpopular.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it holds like a unblocked end more than side to side.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have like a running quarterback, because when the quarterback turns his back to you,
yeah,
you don't know what he's doing with the ball. Like you have to respect the play action, the bootleg.
The edge rusher, to your point, if I'm on the right side, well, the right defensive end knows that he's got the quarterback on a zone read.
Right.
Where if I'm in pistol, the defensive end has to react to which way I go, and that slows him down a count.
Now, I think it gets the running back more downhill instead of side to side, same side runs in the gun if he's offset left to right. Like a same side run, the quarterback brings you the ball, hands it to you. You're downhill for the most part.
Your shoulders are square. It's a little bit slower, but it's better than coming across the formation.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I get the argument. But the other thing that, if you haven't played quarterback or center, that you probably don't understand is if you're a shotgun team, a short yardage CQ exchange
is a liability.
It's a liability, bud, because you're not practicing it as much.
Yeah, right.
Like even if we did goal line, and Les Miles loved his tight ends and his fullbacks.
Yeah,
we did that quarterback center exchange all the time.
Yeah, you started your practice with it, probably,
and it's still nerve-wracking to take a snap under center in a short yardage situation. When do you see it fumbled in the NFL by NFL professional people making millions and millions of dollars? You see it on short yardage. You see it on goal line. When do you see it when a backup quarterback comes in the game? That's also when you see quarterback center exchanges. So like to be gun, all of a sudden game on the line, 3rd and 1, we're going to go under the center. I mean, even if it's a 10% chance of fumbling this out, like that's a nerve-wracking thing because the center's not doing it. It's a different snap point. It's a different grip on the ball when you're snapping it. And I have a nose tackle that is literally taught to not be able to put a playing card in between my helmet and his, who is about to come off the ball. So like that's just it's a different mindset. So if you're a gun team, I don't like going under center just for one play because of those reasons right there. Just because I still got PTSD from fumbled snaps in practice and in games.
Sweaty asses.
Sweaty asses. Good Lord.
All right, I just realized this is segment number 1, and we're 26 minutes in, so we will step away. More football flustering when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
Right.
6 minutes.
Whoa, that's getting ahead of the chains. Go to PECbuilt.com, PECbuilt.com, Pinnacle Exterior Construction. Got something going on in Flynn's backyard right now. PECbuilt.com is the website. Check it out, residential and commercial. It is pools. It is outdoor living spaces. It is fences of any kind and bulkheads. But that's not only, all they can do. Artificial turf is something we've been telling you about over the last couple of weeks and months. If you want like a putting green in your backyard, right? If you're a big golfer and you want that, they can come in, they can handle that. If you just want like an outdoor space for outdoor activities, you want maybe somewhere to work out in your backyard, and it always rains here in South Louisiana and you don't want to go out there in the mud, well, you can get that turf put in by Pinnacle. So many different things they can do to change your space. That's why they say we build the spaces, you build the memories. Check it out online, PECbuilt.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add mountain cold refreshment. Coors Light. Choose chill.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back into OTB. Want to remind you about our new partners, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com is the website, and a lot of different things they can help you with. I mean, sexual performance is one of those things. Testosterone replacement therapy is another. Anti-aging, PRP, hair rejuvenation, a lot of things they can help you with. YourGoodwood.com is the website. Glad to have them on board with OTB.
What's their name mean?
I don't know. Maybe the street here in Baton Rouge. We were just talking during the break, and it brings me back to another conversation. I think I said this on the broadcast too. All right, if I'm looking at, Garrett Nussmeier and running the football and just not specializing in it, I'm not saying that, but on some of the stuff that you saw DNs crashing, pull the ball, make a play, 7 to 11 yards down the field, first down. I would consider you and Garrett Nussmeier pretty close athletically. Would you? I mean, I don't know. You know him better than I do. I mean, if you're taking your
can I tell you something? There was a recruiting list that had me as a dual threat, but
there's no way.
There was.
No. I mean, you did run the option.
Max M. Fingers recruiting list.
Oh, that's still.
I only remember his name because he knew my dad.
Well, no, I remember that name in recruiting when we were coming out.
Dual threat, bud.
All right. Well, I bring it up because
I ran a 4.53 at the Nike camp.
Nobody believes that.
All right.
What'd you run at the combine?
4.7.
What happened?
6. I was fat. We won the national championship. I didn't want to train for the combine. I was so mad. Wanted to eat and drink beers.
Okay. Well, I guess you did so. You're in a 4.7. Okay, so maybe you were a little bit more athletic than Nuss. But my point is, we looked it up. In 2007, I led the team with 225 carries. You were second on the team with 100 carries.
Dual threat, bud.
100. There's no way that number's real.
Does that include sacks? I got sacked a lot.
I mean, maybe, but let's say 70s.
What an average? Negative
2.2 yards rush.
Cloud of dust, baby.
Your long was 35.
I had a 35-yard run. No big deal.
Oh, maybe never. Oh, never mind. That was you had a reception that was 35 yards.
Mm-hmm. Look, I did that.
So if you
high ankle sprain, bud, like a high ankle sprain, athletically probably similar.
Okay, there you go. If that's in the game plan for you to run it 100 times, okay? Like, isn't that something that he has the ability to at least keep defenses honest with? I mean, he's certainly not.
We can throw it in there.
He's not unathletic. I mean, he's not. He doesn't have boots on. He's not like I played with a couple quarterbacks that weren't going to ever beat you with their feet, and Rivers and Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that.
No, I mean,
God, you had 100 rush attempts.
that's a lot.
What?
That's kind of
Who's calling plays?
What are we doing? I mean, this.
Jesus.
There's nothing more 17 years ago than me having 100 rush attempts. A little bit different ball game than they're playing this day.
That number shocked me when I looked it up. It shocked me.
Triple-digit rush attempts. And I only played 3 games with healthy. Oh, that's good. I love the average too. Yeah. Like it was. So I remember in the national championship game, I had like 6. It was like quarterback power on first.
I remember block because I was the extra guy.
Yeah,
I was blocking on those powers. I was either the kick out or the lead up.
Maybe they were just like, if he dies, he dies. I don't know. Like, who cares if he
Well,
gets hurt? Let's just run this thing.
You know, we because Ryan Perilou came in and ran the football too. I mean, he was in there to run first, throw second.
Yep.
Again, the shocking thing of the day is that you had 100 rush attempts. Perilou had 52. We had 152 rush attempts by the quarterbacks in 07.
I think Garrett could handle one a game.
I mean, I think he could do more.
The thing, I guess, right now, you have to assume, and maybe this is wrong. Maybe the 2 guys behind him are going to be fantastic quarterbacks. I hope so. The recent history at LSU says they will be, but you got to assume now that there's a pretty big drop off from 1 to 2.
Yeah,
at our quarterback position.
Yeah,
so
right.
You know,
That's
I'm not mad at like not giving him the option to pull it.
I don't want him to run power.
A called play where he's got somebody protecting him. I don't want him pulling on an open guy and then being one-on-one with something in the open field. Like, let's do a called run for him.
So
you can do a called, like something that looks like a zone run.
Yes.
And then a
all
pull.
right. So what Matt's talking about. So a normal zone read, Nussmeier as the quarterback would read it. He'd read the defensive end. If he crashes, he pulls it. If he doesn't, he gives it off. And if you're trying to keep your quarterback healthy, that's probably not the best recipe for success. But Matt's talking about a look that looks like a zone read, and you have a safety net. You have a version of a check down attached to Nussmeier being able to run, which it's called in the huddle. And so that way, if Nussmeier comes out and he has 10 to 15 yards of open space, he takes that, slides down, lives to play another down. And if they, for whatever reason, they play it well, you have the outlet to get the ball out of your hands.
Or you leave the defensive end free to make it look like a read, and you come and crack him with the tight end sliding across.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other
So there's ways
option.
to get to it
Yep.
without Nussmeier having the ability for him to pull it himself and make the wrong read. He gets hit in the backfield.
What we got? We got a Nuss like a 40-yard dash out of high school. What we got?
You know what? Since we went so long in the first segment, maybe it's talking all this 07 stuff. We got bad clock management. We'll take a break right now. We'll see if we can get a verified 40 time, and we'll give you that when we come back here. It is OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. Allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com is the website, like we told you, in hour number 1. Buying new, leasing, and renting. They are the one-stop shop. No matter what you're looking for, they have multiple options for you. If you need something bigger, they've got the full-size Sequoia. They've got the Sienna minivan. By the way, I saw T-Bob in it yesterday, looking pretty clean in the old murdered out Mini, black on black on black, because you can customize it to whatever you are looking for. They've got multiple trucks, they've got multiple sedans, and multiple hybrids as well. And the best part is, it is in everything that they do. Again, new, lease, and renting. So if you're going to watch the Tigers play this fall in College Station, Gainesville, Florida, don't know why you choose that one, but if you did, in Fayetteville, or if you're even going to South Carolina, you can rent that Toyota today for your trip. Save miles on your vehicle. Call Miss Lisa Sessions in the rental department today. allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back into OTB. A little different version of flestering this week. A little football flestering.
This is weird.
Kind of deep in the weeds here.
Let me ask you a question. We were just talking about this. Did we have any normal down and distance screen or misdirection in the game?
You're talking about offensively.
Offensively, yeah.
I guess you're like screen. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of misdirection. I didn't.
Well, I put screen and misdirection like in the same category.
Yeah. So the screens that LSU ran were the ones that Aaron Anderson scored on, and the one that Nuss missed him on. Like that's kind of their version. Even though it's not a screen, technically it's down the field 2 yards. That's kind of their version. Yeah. And they've run that play for a couple of years now. I know Jaden ran it a ton.
Yeah.
Where you had the zone read, so you had 3 options. Now, I don't think they have 3. I think they have 2 now, where Jaden would either give it, run it, or throw it.
Yeah, and I guess I'm talking more traditional screen, like a little bit.
Like a slip screen?
Misdirection as far as like we're looking like we're passing, getting the guys to drop back, throw up on the line of scrimmage, get your lineman pulling downfield.
Right. No.
Yeah. Because, they had a lot. USC had a lot of success with that, so that was one of the things that stuck out to me was like they have a better screen game than we do, but
they tried. So there was one play where they were absolutely going to throw a screen, and it was set up nicely, and LSU was fortunate that Harold Perkins got there so fast that Miller Moss couldn't continue with the screen, and he actually still got the ball to Woody Marks, but the screen wasn't set up by the time because it had to happen so quick, but then they came back to the screen to Zachariah Branch all the way across the field, which, honestly, I was shocked that only got 19 yards. I was like, that's going to score.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember charting the plays and seeing anything, no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a question.
Well, no, honestly, like you have.
Because it's something that needs to be,
Yeah, you've got 2 receivers.
We got in the game, but if we're going to throw the ball for over 300 yards, you got to have some screens, some draws, some, that type of deal in there. Yeah, credit to them, man. We were just talking about their little Q, little quarterback.
Yeah.
Played his little balls off.
He played incredibly well. He was under duress. I mean, I don't think LSU didn't give up a sack, but USC did, and like he did fumble the ball. And that was another story in the game. There was 4 times where you had a chance at the ball, and USC got the bounce. You had 2 balls that were batted down. The D-line did a great job of getting their hands up multiple times. It was in the air. You had your hands on it. You dropped it. You had 2 fumbles that you caused because of great pressure. They bounce on the ground. USC recovers them. 4 chances at a turnover, and USC is able to keep the ball in all 4. That doesn't happen very often. Yeah. You had 4 chances. And, again, that's the way the ball bounced. It's not like LSU. It's not a bad play. Yeah. Savion Jones tried to make a play. Whit Weeks tried to make a play, on an interception and tip ball. You forced the fumble, and you have a USC lineman come in both times, and they're able to get on it. That's not on the defense, but those are game-changing plays, and none of the 4 went your way.
Pretty good plays by that lineman, too.
It was.
Like, usually with offensive linemen jumping on balls, running full speed, it's like a bar of soap.
Yeah.
But that guy made some good plays.
Yeah, no, that's 4. Look, that's 4 chances where if you get one of those, what's the game look like? Now, on the one that I guess Whit Weeks would have intercepted, you still would have had a penalty from Major Burns for taking his helmet off, and so you still would have been pushed back a little bit.
Sure. Nah, we would have won by 20 if we got one of those.
Yeah, I don't know that would have happened. But so all right, where does LSU go from here? Because I laid it out. Even though you're playing UCLA as well in that series before you get to Ole Miss, it doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to get an attaboy from anybody.
No. First game of the season, a lot of positives to take away from it. I think we're all still a little bit nervous from last year. Like, I just hope that the defenses look so much. We're such a better defense. I can't even compare them to last year from a schematic standpoint, but more importantly from just it's kind of cheesy to say, it's from like a heart standpoint, from like an effort standpoint. You just want that to continue to stay the same, that effort level, what they did. Like I think we all felt it coming out of training camp. If you went out to practice, like the energy level, the effort that those guys were playing looked so much different than what we saw on the game tape from last year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be excited about that. Those defenders that are playing are only going to get better. So as long as the effort stays there, they're going to make plays. They're going to create turnovers. They're going to have a lot of sack fumbles. Like, they're going to make some game-changing plays. And because of that reason, and they're going to give up some plays too. Like athletically, there's going to be some people that beat them, and that teams are going to make their plays. USC did it against us. I mean, it's just the way it is. I think they're still building that defense from a personnel standpoint, but from an effort standpoint and X's O's, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about obviously what we can do and can be on offense. So I think the sky is still the limit for LSU. And I'm a homer. I'm proud of that. Okay, I'm a big LSU obviously supporter. I think they're going to win every single game. But the reality is it's going to come down to a handful of plays in the season. We're going to win our games. We're going to win our share of games, and the plays, like we just talked about the turnovers in the USC game, like some of those have to go our way. There's some bad plays that we made that that can't happen. So when we get to our big games, when we play Ole Miss, when we get down the stretch, like the season, whether we are going to fight and find a way to make the top 12 is going to come down to a handful of plays in the season, and that's football, man. Like, go to any championship team on any level, when it boils down to it, who's going to make the play at the end of the day? But I'm excited about where we're at.
You didn't fall far in the rankings. You go down from 13 to 18.
Yeah, I think what we saw is what most of America probably saw was a really well played game from both teams.
Yeah, we had
no one got like just beat in this game, right?
So on Tuesdays over on Sirius XM, Jimbo is now a co-host with me.
I love that.
It's me, EJ, and Jimbo, and he said the same. I mean, sounded just like what you just said about LSU, because we asked him about the game. We were talking games of the week, and he said basically exactly what you just said, and it's like, look, for week one, that was high level. That was high level offensive play. He said the quarterback play in that game was, he said outside of Cam Ward, that was probably the best quarterback play that I saw all weekend from both quarterbacks. And so it was, for being week one, two good teams, it was a clean play game. So we can wrap up flustering and continue maybe talking about that when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to communitysteelco.com. Communitysteelco.com is the website, and they've already been open for almost 2 hours now. They want you to come see them in Gonzales, Louisiana. It is the top right corner of the website. Click on Community Steel. Shows you exactly where they're located. Going to have all of your needs met there. Metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, steel framing, like whatever, trim, any accessory. They've got you covered. And the best part about it, man, they want you to come see them. They invite you to come see them. That's why they open their doors at 7 a.m. They want you to come take a look for yourself. They want to be able to show you what they can do for you. Now, we always tell you, if you can't be in Gonzales, Louisiana today, and you're throughout the state of Louisiana, no matter where you're listening to us, and you want to work with Community Steel, they are certainly there for you as well. Give them a call at 225-647-2020. Let them know what you're looking for. And again, they will make sure that your needs are met. Find it online at communitysteelco.com, communitysteelco.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in. OTB, drinkmyhigh.com, drinkmyhigh.com. Go get all of your My High products on the website or at Rouse's. We had somebody in the chat earlier said, Flynn, they need bigger boxes of My High at Rouse's. Your rebuttal, sir.
I agree 100%. Need to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah.
I think they need only My High.
How much My High was consumed in Las Vegas?
There was a lot. Yeah. I brought a lot with me. We sponsored a couple parties here and there. A couple football teams out there were hydrated as well.
Yep.
Got to say, we had a pretty good little weekend. I think the My High college football teams out there had a pretty good record this weekend. Not a big deal. I mean, some say it's a secret weapon.
There was a lot of people that were coming up to Flynn. It was pretty funny that were coming up to Flynn, like begging basically for My High.
Were everywhere. It was
please,
good.
like scratching for somebody. Just please help me get back to normal, please. In demand.
I gotta say, like if you're a LSU like party or some sort of gathering and you're giving away somebody else's product, you need to get with the program, bud. It's starting to piss me off.
Yeah. You know who you are.
You know who you are. Talking to you, bud.
Yep. I only drink My High.
Thank you.
And you should drink My High at drinkmyhigh.com. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, dude. It was fun. Traffic sucked, but, you know, it was fun. I'm excited to come in.
Yeah, don't even do it. Why? Why lie to the people? You don't know. You have no idea if you're going to be here next week.
Yeah. I just can't wait for another big game. I don't like these games coming up.
You don't show up for Nicholls? Yeah. What about for South Carolina on the road?
Baby. Oh, yeah.
All right. He'll be here probably in 2 weeks. We'll be back. OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to KDZ Blinds. KDZBlinds.com, KDZBlinds.com. And look, I can tell you what they've done for me and my personal experience with KDZ window coverings. I didn't really know that I needed the outdoor shade that we got, but we had them come out to the house and we were like, hey man, this spot right here would be great for watching football. You can see it from the living room, and so you can kind of feel like you're in both rooms at the same time, but it's so hot, it's so bright right there. Like, we got the thing for you. And so they installed the exterior shade, and truly, like, it blew me away with what it could do for that space. Like, even in the maximum heat of the day, you can drop the shade and it's enjoyable. Like, my wife takes our daughter out there and she swings her and she's like, it's actually comfortable. It can do that for you. It can cool down the interior of your home as well. Check it out online, K2ZBlinds.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all.
Good morning. It's 9 a.m. here on Wednesday, September 4th. Today in Baton Rouge, expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 94. In hour 3 of today's show, we'll talk all things NFL. We'll look at the NFL as a whole and take a deep dive into the New Orleans Saints. If you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can catch it in the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. You can also follow us on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN and watch us on YouTube at the 1045 ESPN channel. Hour number 3 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, starts now.
Let's go, baby, let's go. All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Yeah. Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 3 of OTB. Stepping away a little bit from the LSU talk. We spent the first 2 hours of the show talking LSU, USC, playing Brian Kelly sound, and Alondra played Sabotage because she's so fired up to hear from Dennis Allen, in which we will turn our attention to the New Orleans Saints. I'm just kidding, Alondra.
Yeah,
I think everybody knows that. But the Saints play the Panthers coming up this weekend inside the Caesars Superdome. And Carolina was very bad a year ago. They earned the #1 pick. Now, they didn't have the #1 pick because they traded it to the Bears, as we all know. But they were that bad, they earned the #1 pick. The Saints are a 4.5-point favorite right now. And here is Dennis Allen, excited for game week here coming up in a couple days.
All right, game week. So excited to be here working. Thought we had good practice today, and we're excited about the opportunity to start off with a division opponent. Look, they got a lot of new faces from a personnel standpoint. Got some new faces in terms of coaching staff standpoint. There'll be a lot of adjusting that'll need to be done as the game moves along, but we're certainly excited about, having an opportunity to start out, open up division opponent in our building, and I think our guys will be ready to play.
Now, for me, when you're talking Carolina Panthers, it's going to be, where is quarterback Bryce Young in year number 2? He was not good a year ago. And then, of course, it's always heightened whenever C.J. Stroud, who was picked number 2, goes out there and has a Pro Bowl type season. And people are excited about C.J. Stroud in Houston. He's got all these receivers. He's got 3 guys to throw it to. He's got a running back in Mixon, and that's an exciting team. And Bryce Young right now, he's got the pressure of trying to not be a bust and being a #1 overall pick. Not only when you don't work out, but when the number 2 pick's the same position and the team traded up to take you, there's an added expectation. There's an added pressure. And where he's at is obviously going to be pivotal to the success of the Carolina Panthers. And you look at the weapons and you spend a first-round pick on Xavier Leggett. You have Adam Thielen coming back, and you trade for Johnson at the receiver position from Pittsburgh. You had Jonathan Mingo, who was a second-round pick just a year ago. Now, remember, they cut Terrace Marshall. He's no longer on this team, and so they feel good about where they're at receiver. Chuba Hubbard's going to be the running back, but it's all going to come down to Bryce Young in year number 2. Here is Dennis Allen on Bryce Young.
He only played one series in the preseason, and it was a pretty effective series. They were able to move the ball down the field. They scored a touchdown. They got him out of the pocket a few times, got him on the move some. Looked like he was making some checks at the line of scrimmage. Looked like he was comfortable in the things that they're asking him to do. I've always felt like this is a guy that's poised in the pocket. I've always felt like this is a guy that understands how to navigate the pocket and move in the pocket. And so, look, I think our ability to affect him in a lot of different ways, whether it be rush, coverage, how we rush him, rush integrity, maybe some different looks, I think that's going to be important. As with any quarterback, it starts with that player. And the more you're able to affect him, the more success you're going to be able to have.
All right, this is a situation in where the Saints have to go out and win this game. All right, you've got a new coaching staff in Carolina. You've got a second-year quarterback that did not look good in year number 1. He looked overmatched most of the time. He only played one series in the preseason, like you just heard there from Dennis Allen. They've got okay weapons, but their weapons are either older or they're young players, right? They don't have that sure go-to weapon maybe that really scares you or makes you nervous. Now, they've added a couple of different pieces on defense, and defense wasn't the issue for Carolina. The defense was not bad in Carolina. It's all offensive. And so you bring in a new coach that led the Buccaneers offense, and you're hoping for improvement there. But if you're the New Orleans Saints and you don't go win this game, my God, what does the rest of the season look like? You're at home playing against a team that earned the number 1 pick in last year's draft, a new coaching staff, and you've got basically everything returning. Now, I'm not saying all returning production is good production, but you have the ability, right, to have way better chemistry. Because if you don't, then that's even more troublesome for the Saints, right? You bring back your defense. In large part, now, good, bad, or indifferent, you didn't really add a lot on offense. You kind of bring back the same guys. Now you have a new system and a new coordinator, but the personnel is going to be the same. If you go out and you let Bryce Young beat you at home in the home opener, what does the rest of the season look like? Because I don't have high hopes for Carolina. Right, so it's in a situation where I think Carolina's going to go surprise a lot of us and be a 9-win football team. 4 or 5 wins is probably what they're looking at. And if they shock us, look, we'll raise our hand. We'll tell you we were wrong. But the Saints have to win this game. They have to go out there and assert their dominance on defense and make enough plays on offense, because every beat writer for the Saints has been telling us, oh, this is just it's a fraction of the playbook. Okay, there's no more fractions, right? It's got to be the whole sum here in this game. It's supposed to be an explosive offense with a lot of moving parts in a good way, and supposed to get the ball in the playmaker's hands with a lot of different looks and shifts and movements and motions and all. Okay, that's great. But now it's time. Now it's time to show us what everybody has been talking about. And again, a lot of new in Carolina this year, where you should be a lot more stable than they are currently right now, even with the new offensive coordinator, because there's so much that you have as far as personnel and certainly defensive staff that is coming back. But here is Dennis Allen on what it's going to look like with Carolina's new coach and on the offensive side.
We played against his scheme and his system last year in Tampa Bay, and you see a lot of carryover into what they're doing. He's a guy that's been committed to being able to run the football. Obviously, they bulked up their offensive line, a couple of additions inside, and they're a big, physical offensive line. I thought they ran the ball well at times during the preseason, so I think that's certainly something that they want to be able to do. I think some of the play action pass, some of the movement passing game with the quarterbacks, obviously part of what they do. So I see a team that's well coached. I thought, look, they came in here against us early in the season last year and beat us pretty good. I thought they out executed us, talking about their offense, Tampa's offense versus our defense. And so I know they're a well coached group, and I know we're going to have our hands full.
Taylor, how's your feel in this game? New Orleans, Carolina in the Superdome. Again, if you lose this one, I just don't know what your expectation is going to be for the rest of the season. I'm talking to every listener out there. Mine's going to be in the dumpster. It's already not that far from that right now, just because I just don't feel great about where they're at offensively. Again, I would love to be proven wrong. I would love to see in game number 1 the use of Taysom Hill, and if AK's back on the field, and what Derek Carr can give you with a receiver room that just right now looks really, really thin. So I don't have the highest of expectations, but if they go out and they lose to Carolina, they're at an all-time low.
You know, I actually talked about this exact thing yesterday when I was filling in for you guys. This is a must-win game. We had Nick on. He said the same thing. It's weird to say in week one. Jake, you look at their schedule. I just pulled it up for the first 6 weeks. If you don't beat Carolina, you go on the road against Dallas. That's going to be tough. You're probably not winning that game. You come home against Philadelphia. You get bad Philly, good Philly.
Yeah.
At Atlanta, week 4. At Kansas City, week 5.
Yeah, boy.
And then you come back home and you play a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that you struggled against last year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to win this week 1 game. Now, it lightens up for you after that. You got Denver, you got the Chargers, you got the Panthers again.
Whoa.
I know. But you you're in L.A., in that ruckus L.A. crowd.
That doesn't really matter.
But it lightens up after that. You get the Browns. What are they going to be? The Rams later in the year, the Giants. But that first 6-7 weeks of the season, this is about as must-win as a season opener could be.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think when you look at who you are, what you have coming up, and who your opponent is, I'm agreeing. It's going to be like that Dallas game on the road. That's going to be tough because they have offensive weapons that can challenge your good defense. And then defensively, what does Dallas do really well? They get after the quarterback and they turn you over. What are you terrified of right now as a Saints fan? Blocking a good pass rusher and Derek Carr protecting the football and making good decisions. It's not a great matchup for you. And he listed a couple of the other ones. Like, those games, like those are going to be games that you're probably going to be a dog in. All of them, if not most of them. And so that's why week number 1 as a favorite against a bad Carolina football team feels like it is must win right now. And also, it does lighten up for you outside the Chargers game. I don't know what Taylor was talking about there, but you don't want to start behind the 8 ball. Like that's the last thing that you want to do because in the NFL, it starts rolling downhill and you think that, we'll get to the point where we're going to have winnable games, but everything's already, down in the dumps and you feel like you can't overcome that. And that's tough to kind of fight your way back in the National Football League. And so, week number 1, Carolina, it's a game that you should win. It's a game that you need to win. It's almost a game that you must win. And we'll see if the Saints can get that done here coming up this weekend inside the Caesars Superdome. All right, we will step away. We still got NFL story coming from Tay, and we'll see what kind of mood we're in after Tay gives us his NFL story of the day. We'll have that for you when we come back here on OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, so as we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, man, we are fired up to be partners now with the Queen Baton Rouge, and actually we will be out there tomorrow. You got the first game of the NFL season, Ravens versus Chiefs, and Team OTB will be out there. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing NFL back on the screen. Looking forward to hanging out at the brand new Queen, and you're not going to recognize it if you haven't been there in a while. Full disclosure, I didn't. Right? It had been a while since I'd been out there, and I knew what it used to look like on the boat. I was blown away. I mean, so many different restaurants to choose from. You are going to not recognize it. The DraftKings Sportsbook is incredible. Like, we are going to post up there tomorrow, hang out, watch some ball, play some bets, have a lot of fun. We encourage everyone to come do the same. Like, I'll be out there early, and I know T-Bob will be there late. And so you can come hang out with Team OTB and visit them on the web, thequeengaming.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
I'm so happy 'cause today found my friends in my head. I'm so worried.
All right, welcome back in OTB. Want to remind you, go to oakparkevents.com. 2 different venues to choose from, 2 very unique venues to choose from. Oak Lodge, Park 73. And guys, if you go out there and you put a plan together, it is going to blow your fiance away, right? And they both offer so many different unique things, and you can check out online. You can schedule a tour. You can, get more information on the website. You can view the packages that they can offer you, but we promise one thing is you will be blown away with both venues, and you get to choose what kind of vibe you are looking for. You can find all that information on their website. That's oakparkevents.com. That's Oak Park, park with a C, P-A-R-C events.com. All right, it is now time for what's probably going to be a sad story, knowing what's out there in the NFL headlines, that it's Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day.
It's time for Tay-Tay's NFL story of the day. Your daily dose of NFL news from Taylor Sharp.
Okay, so I know y'all always joke that I have negative headlines, and I haven't had one in a while, and I always point that out. Today's a negative one, guys. Yeah. It is what it is. But you know what? It ends positive. It's about as positive as it could. This is something that came across that I saw Saturday night. It occurred 3 p.m. Saturday in San Francisco. San Francisco 49ers rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall was shot in an apparent robbery attempt, actually in the chest. And now he's okay. He's out of the hospital. He obviously will miss the first 4 weeks of the season. 17-year-old kid right there in Union Square, one of the busiest shopping areas in San Francisco, in broad daylight, decided he was going to try to rob Ricky Pearsall. It actually led to a physical altercation. Pearsall decided to fight back, and the gun fired twice. It hit Pearsall once. It hit the suspect the second time. He has been identified as a 17-year-old male that just lived in the San Francisco area that decided he was going to rob Ricky Pearsall. But Pearsall is okay. There was a video circulating over the weekend. He actually got into the ambulance himself, so it wasn't anything too serious. But yeah, a 17-year-old kid robbing Ricky Pearsall and shooting him over the weekend.
Yeah, that is that story. I didn't even know the full details of it. We were in Vegas and covering the game. That is wild. That is wild. Somebody just that's your thought process. 17 years old. That is nuts. And I'm assuming targeted Ricky Pearsall, knowing who he was.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oof. Luckily, I think it was a through and through, right?
Yeah,
is what I heard. So Ricky Pearsall is, recovering, and I know there was police on the scene immediately that apparently had a lot to do with him not losing a lot of blood. It's something that I read here during the break, and so thankfully Ricky Pearsall is okay, and I don't know what that recovery looks like, but the fact that he still is with us and didn't lose his life over something like that is obviously the main point of the story.
Yeah, John Lynch said they wanted to give him time to recover, like, hey, take all the time you need. He said he was back in the facility within 72 hours. So
okay, yeah.
Ricky Pearsall was good. I got another one, a little bit of a positive spin. You've seen the movie Friday.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the famous line, how do you get fired on your day off?
Yeah.
On Monday, Michael Thomas got fired on his day off. He is a free agent, and the NFL announced that despite the fact that he is not on a team, he is suspended for week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. If you guys remember, it was November of 2023. He had that simple battery charge in Kenner. It was the confrontation he had with the construction worker in his neighborhood. He had, thrown a brick through the guy's car window. He is suspended for week 1, despite the fact that he wasn't going to play week 1 anyways.
How surprised are we that Michael Thomas isn't on a team? There's a lot of teams out there that need receiver help. Inside the NFL, it can't be a great message or a great vibe from anyone if Michael Thomas is not on a team right now. We could go across the board. Even teams that, had star receivers look like they were going to hold out haven't even reached out, apparently, to Michael Thomas. I mean, that's surprising to me, but it must not be good inside the NFL circles of where he's at right now.
There's a lot of receiver needy teams. The teams that you and I pull for need wide receiver help.
Yeah.
Chargers could use him. The Cowboys need a wide receiver too behind CeeDee Lamb, and there has not been noise of him even taking a visit anywhere.
No, so I'm saying, you haven't heard anything.
The Ravens need help on the outside. I mean, nothing. That kind of shows, like you said, the vibe around Michael Thomas in the NFL.
So is this a situation, I'm assuming, where, he's suspended for week 1, but because he's not with a team, as soon as he comes back, he has to miss that week?
It just says week 1 here. I would imagine that's the case. All it says is week 1 in this particular case, though.
Any positive? I guess that's, it's news. I guess no positive.
I mean, it's better than getting shot, I guess. Wanted to do that one first.
Where are we at with Jamar Chase? What's the latest there?
They said he's going to get a deal done, but I mean, season starts Sunday. He's supposed to play. He's the only big time receiver this offseason that is not signed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody, was the report that he wants one more penny than his boy?
1 penny
Jets?
more than Justin Jefferson.
That is so fun. That's petty, and I love it.
Here's you a positive one. Patrick Surtain got a record deal for DBs. Broncos locked him up long term. 4-year, $96 million.
Ooh, that is a lot for a DB. 4 years, $96 million. How much of that's guaranteed?
77.5.
Oh my God.
Yeah, $24 million a year. Jair Alexander was the highest paid at $21 million a year, so
that's
a good bit more.
Deal. That's a massive deal. LSU fans are still mad because they thought he was coming to LSU, and he was until he wasn't. So even that is a sad story there, Tete. So you appreciate it. Thing we're all looking forward to maybe most in the opening weekend, and again, it starts tomorrow. We will be at the Queen watching the game. What are we looking forward to the most in week number 1 of the NFL?
There's a lot. Honestly, the Thursday night matchup, Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes, it's probably the best quarterback matchup of the weekend. Packers-Eagles, just because.
On a Friday.
Yeah, well, on a Friday in Brazil, I believe, right?
Yeah. Devin White's he was ruled out of that game with an ankle injury, so no Devin White in that game for the Eagles.
It's two teams that could not have finished on more different notes a year ago. I mean, the Packers were on fire the last 8 games. The Eagles were about as bad as you could be the last 9 or 10 games. Interested to see Can Jalen Hurts bounce back, and can Jordan Love live up to that big contract?
Yeah. Alondra, is there anything that you're looking forward to outside of Dennis Allen in week number
I know.
1?
I was going to say, I just cannot wait to watch the Saints play the Panthers, and I especially can't wait for Dennis Allen's post-game press conference after they lose to the Panthers.
I mean, they're so dynamic. How could we not be on the edge of our seats waiting for that?
Yeah.
Now, y'all made a great point. If he's talking about Kendre Miller, you're going to get the best version of Dennis Allen. If he's not, then it's probably not going to be something that you want to hear.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And when I tell you that those sound bites, Musso goes through it too, we're like, the sound bite will be like 2 minutes long, and we have to shorten it to like 30 seconds. So after we take the long pauses and the you knows out of it.
We don't know, Dennis. That's why we're asking the
Right.
question.
But in all seriousness, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll be a good one.
It'll be fun. Like I said, I'll be out there early, and I know T-Bob will probably be out there later, and we'll cross over as well. But we'll all be out there at some point. Team OTB definitely going to be represented at the Queen tomorrow night. For me, I'm looking forward to some former LSU quarterbacks. So Joe Burrow and the Bengals take on the Patriots, who we're not expecting really anything from. And now that Joe is back healthy, and hopefully he stays healthy, we'll knock on wood there, because obviously it's been his one bugaboo in the NFL to see where he's at and coming back and where the Bengals are at. The team looks a little bit different. It is a different look. New running back, new third receiver, new tight end. So we'll see what the Bengals look like. But I want to see Joe Burrow back there and healthy. And I want to see Jaden Daniels against the Buccaneers. Cannot wait to see Jaden Daniels in the NFL and how his game translates, because I'm expecting big things. He doesn't have the supporting cast like Caleb Williams has, the Bears. That might be the best supporting cast that any number 1 pick has ever had in the history of football. Like, when you look at the receivers, the backs, the tight end, the offensive line there, I would be shocked if he doesn't have a very successful rookie season. But the Commanders have some juice too. They've got a couple of running backs, and Robinson, I think, is undervalued. And I know Eckler's older, but I still think he gives you value and can protect a quarterback, what he can do for you on third down. I think you've got some really good receivers. You've got a number 1 receiver. Zach Ertz at tight end kind of gives you a solid veteran presence where you know you can trust him, you can count on him. And so the coverage is not completely bare there for the Commanders. And so I expect Jaden to really hit his stride early in his NFL career and not have to really have a learning curve in year number 1. So excited about that. And if we're going, LSU players, how about the receiver matchup that we have, Minnesota versus the New York Giants? You've got Jets and Malik with 2 bad quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was about to say, and none of them have.
Yeah, I'm excited about the
them.
Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones matchup is going to be the complete opposite of the Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes matchup.
Which quarterback matchup is going to be the worst in the NFL this weekend? Derek Carr and Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones.
I think that one takes the cake.
Yeah, because neither of those teams are supposed to be that good. Like, the Saints at least have a good defense. The Giants, they're going to have a good D-line. They shored that up in the offseason. But, look, I think he's a solid running back. Devin Singletary is your lead rusher. Outside of Malik Neighbors, you got him and Darius Slayton. Yeah. You don't have much at the tight end spot either. And then the Vikings, they're just so banged up. You have Aaron Jones. Can he stay healthy? Outside of that, even Jordan Addison's been hurt behind Justin Jefferson. I just think both those teams just lack a lot of that top-end talent.
You got Bo Nix versus Geno Smith, but even that feels better than the other 2 matchups that we're talking about now.
That's ugly, but it's better than the other 2.
Now, the Vikings, their plan was not to have Sam Darnold be the guy all season long. It was going to be J.J. McCarthy. He gets hurt, unfortunately, going to miss the entire season. And now, man, you got a lot of pressure on 2 stud receivers that's, they're already going to have a lot of the attention of the defense, but even more now because they know those quarterbacks are going to be looking for them and not going through the progressions like other quarterbacks would. And you just hope that they find a way to be the dominant force that they can be. But that's some of the things that I'm looking forward to. Of course, the Chargers, I know y'all don't care, but they're playing the Raiders. I hate the Raiders. Hated seeing all the things that I had to see this weekend inside that stadium. Gross. Who likes the Raiders? Nobody. They shouldn't. Only
the Raiders don't even like the Raiders.
Come on, it's the Raiders. who's there? Who are they? They Oakland, they LA, they Las Vegas. Come on, nobody really knows. And
idea.
so I'm looking forward to that. I know nobody else is, but those are a couple things we're looking forward to in the NFL season. All right, we are going to step away. We'll be back with more OTB on here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
All right, go to getgordon.com. Getgordon.com is the website where we tell you all the time, you can do it all. You really can. I mean, it's a great tool for Gordon McKernan injury attorneys. You can check past client results. You can check out cases they can handle for you. You can ask them a question right there on the website. You can get a consultation set up on the website. You can meet the G team on the website. It's a great tool to be able to see all the experience that they have in the courtroom. Also on social media, @GetGordon is going to be the handle if you want to see what they're doing in your community. Now, remember, it's throughout the state of Louisiana. It's not only here in the Baton Rouge area. So no matter where you're listening to us in the state of Louisiana, obviously you're going to have a G team near you. And you can find out what they're doing in your community with your favorite athletes throughout the state. @GetGordon's a handle. And you know the area code in Louisiana followed by 888-8888.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back into OTB. A couple more segments here on a Wednesday afternoon. Taylor, I'm surprised your NFL story of the day was not that the Chargers moved defensive lineman Scott Matlock from defensive line to fullback. He's 6'4", 300 pounds. He's going from number 99 to number 44. This is Jim Harbaugh's offense a 300-pound fullback. How's that not your story of the day?
John Harbaugh did it with Patrick Ricard.
Oh,
we heard
did.
that story a couple weeks ago. We heard him tell that story. So I love that. I love that the fullback still has a place in the game, at least a little bit.
Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot of bit. I'll take a little bit right now. It's progressing. Okay, so, I would have chosen it as my story of the day, but I guess, somebody getting shot is obviously big news, and we hope Ricky Pearsall certainly has a full recovery. All jokes aside, a great young man that we had good conversations with at the Senior Bowl, and hopefully he's back on the field sooner rather than later. I did want to kind of talk about one of the things that wasn't surprising over the college football weekend as far as the outcome, but it's still surprising the reaction from the Clemson head coach, Dabo Swinney. Now, we all know that they got beat by Georgia 34-3. They got outscored in the second half 28-3. And Clemson is no longer built to be in a four-quarter battle with a team like Georgia. We know that. It's just it's not where it's at. They are no longer a pillar of college football, and they were for so long. Think about where they were. They were the only program to really figure out Alabama for a long period of time. They beat them a couple of times. Nobody else was doing that, but they did. And they were playing for a championship in 2019. They had a good year in 2020. And since then, with college football changing and not ever going to go back, they're not changing with the times. There's 4 schools that don't have a player out of the portal. It's the 3 service academies in Clemson. We all know that. Their NIL collective's not where it needs to be. And after a game like that, you're wanting answers that sound different, but you're getting the same ones. A couple of quotes that Dabo had after this game. "We've done it in a unique way. Now people want me to go do it some other way. They've lost their freaking mind. I'm not doing it any other way." Okay, that's one quote from Dabo. "Everything doesn't go the way you want it every single time, but that doesn't mean you get away from what your foundation is, what you believe in." Dabo, your foundation is crumbling, all right? Your foundation is not keeping up with the times that it has to keep up with. The change in college football is already done, and it's only going the opposite direction of what you've done. If you continue, it's already actually happened, but if you continue to have that same mindset, the train's already left you. Like, you are on the platform, bag in hand, there's no train in sight. What's the next step? Like, this is a program that and credit to you did this, you raised the expectation. Clemsoning used to be a verb, and then you became a pillar, and now you're behind the times. It's shocking to me that he continues to dig his heels in. And so on Tuesdays in football season now, a little shameless plug here, on off campus, it's me, it's EJ Manuel, and it's Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo's a co-host of ours on Tuesdays now. And like, we were talking about this, and on air, like, he's like, look, one of the things that makes Coach Saban and Kirby so great is they'll change with the times, but they'll change like within how they want to do it, as far as like they still have their process. So they'll change, but it's not going to be just completely reckless. Like, they're going to change within their process, but they're going to do enough to do what they have to do. And he talked about they're still going to recruit high school like they've always done. And Kirby is dominating recruiting. He said, but they're going to add those 6 to 8 players that are going to fill their deficiencies. He's like, and look, we all know Nick didn't love spread offenses, but he brought Lane in because he knew he had to. There's things that Kirby doesn't like, but he knew he had to do them. And that's why those teams are still those teams. And if you're just saying, you know what, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to, that's the wrong answer. That answer is not going to play. And now we look at an ACC, Florida State's 0-2, Clemson's 0-1. I don't know what the hierarchy of that conference looks like. I mean, Boston College was the better team. They dominated Florida State. That game wasn't close. That game they took a knee on the 10. It could have been 35-13 very easily. Georgia Tech dominated them. Who's Clemson going to dominate? I mean, I don't know, but I know that Clemson you might think that you can go run the ACC and get into the college football playoff. Taylor, I don't know if y'all agree. That team that I saw over the weekend, they're not dominating anything with that offense.
No, they're not. And then look at what Miami did against Florida. Now, I get it. That's not a very good Florida team, but Miami looked really good.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech dominated Florida State week 1. And you know, it's funny. The Boston College game was a carbon copy of what Georgia Tech did. That's why when we were kind of looking at these games, I was like, hey, Boston College can run the ball. They ran it for 285 yards against Florida State, and Georgia Tech did kind of the same thing to them. Virginia Tech loses to friggin' Vandy. I mean, that conference is wide open, but, like, Clemson's not at the top of it anymore. Credit to you. Coming into the season, you were talking about, hey, I know we talk about Georgia not having any weapons on the outside or Alabama. Clemson's in an even worse spot. Antonio Williams had an okay game for Clemson. He was about it. And then Bo Collins, your biggest weapon from a year ago, leaves. And I know Notre Dame didn't have a ton of offense, but Riley Leonard went to Bo Collins time and time again in that A&M game.
He's a trusty receiver.
And he picked up big-time first downs. That's a bad look on Dabo as well. Look, Chip Kelly left from being a head coach to be an OC. He didn't want to deal with the NIL stuff. Harbaugh goes back to the NFL. We've seen coaches do it, but, like, if you're going to be a head coach in college football, you don't have to like NIL or transfer portal, but to not use it at all. I mean, you remember I defended Dabo a lot going into the season.
Yeah, I tried to last year.
After that, he showed that I can compete with big teams for half a football game.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I can do. I'm a first half team. I can't do it. You have to look in the mirror, and it's one of those things that you've seen coaches in the past not want to adapt. You saw Dan Mullen not want to adapt. Florida pulled the plug there. It's going to get him in trouble, and I don't see him changing his ways anytime soon.
Cortland inside of the Bayou 4 chat. I'm still hoping that Kirby goes the way of the Dabo at some point. Well, here's the difference, though. So Kirby is still going to lean mostly on high school recruiting. And, again, he's dominating that. Now, it's not number one class every year, but it's top 3 every year. Clemson's like 13th through 18th in high school recruiting every year. It's a big difference between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 13 through 18. And also, Kirby is going to take players out of the portal. He's just not going to have wholesale changes. Etienne, who's going to be the starting running back, he's out of the portal. Lovett, who's going to be probably their leading receiver, he's out of the portal. Like, they do enough. You get a tight end from Stanford. You don't have 30 players. You're not Colorado or Arizona State or Louisville, but you get 6. And 6 guys where you needed a veteran guy. Hey, you know, we lost a tight end to the NFL. Let's go get a tight end from Stanford. They did. Hey, we lost Kendall Milton at back. Let's go get it back out of the portal. They did with Etienne. So they're doing what you have to do without having wholesale changes. The fact that Dabo is saying, I'm not changing, and you ask him, it's like when your parents used to say, because I said so. Well, why? Just tell me why you come to this decision. And he's just literally digging his heels in and going back to, well, we've always done it this way. Well, you used to always win when it was that way, but it's not that way anymore, and you're continuing to try to do it that way. I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was like, man, come on now, Clemson, let's don't throw them out of the benefit of the doubt club just yet, and that was a year ago. And now, man, how are you going to defend that? If I'm a Clemson fan, I am pissed. I am mad. You have this program that still has some juice to it. It still got some coolness to it. You still got, I think it was 2 players in the top 15 overall players, one on offense, one on defense. Now, the whole class wasn't that, but you are still getting players to that level. Imagine if you added a transfer receiver. Imagine if you added Juice Wells from South Carolina this year and didn't let him go to Ole Miss. He'd have been your dude. He's a guy at Ole Miss because of that room. It's deep. But he'd have been your go-to guy. You could have convinced him to come to Clemson, but you don't want to. You don't want to go into the portal. You don't want to have a great collective in the NIL space. Right, wrong, or indifferent, if I'm a player, right, and Team A is going to pay me for my services, and Team B is telling me, come to Clemson because we're Clemson, and not giving me anything, and Team A is not far away from Clemson, where am I going to go? I'm going to go to Team A. I'm not going to go to Team B. I'm not going to go to Clemson. Like, you holding up rings from, you know, what's going to quickly approach you. You're going to look up, it's going to be a decade ago. That's not going to sell anymore. So it's shocking that they are not moving on from where they were and what they had success with, and the game changed, and they're just saying, no, we can still do that when you can't. It is an interesting tactic by Dabo, and again, he dug his heels in fully after that game. The ACC, like Taylor said, it looks like a hot mess. All right, we are going to step away here, get to a little somewhat on-time extended version of Ask the Bench, brought to you by Cole Coors Light, Vizzy Hard Seltzer, Blue Moon, Light Sky, Citrus Sweet, and we'll do it to wrap up today's OTB.
Off the bench.
All right, go to trashrangers.com. That's right, trashrangers.com. Now, you can still go to trashrangersllc.com. They'll bring you to the website, but they've got a new name as far as the website and a new website, but still the same great service that you're going to get from Trash Rangers of Louisiana. And look, I mean, if you're looking for a new trash service, I mean, they are truly the one that just takes all the hassle out of it. They're so reliable. They send you literally text messages reminding you to put out the trash, and fellas, you know why that is important. How many times have you been trying to get to work and you hear the trash in your neighborhood getting picked up and you're like, oh my God, I forgot. Okay, well, you're not going to forget because you're going to get that weekly text reminder. Also, roll-off dumpsters. If you've got a project at your home or your business throughout the greater Baton Rouge area, 3 different sizes to choose from, they're going to make sure you have the right size. Go to the website today, trashrangers.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD.
Welcome back to Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back into OTB. One final segment here. We'll Ask the Bench, brought to you by Cold Coors Light, Vizzy Hard Seltzer, Blue Moon, Light Sky, Citrus Sweet. Ask the Bench. I love how T went to the office to do snaps and video games, but can't do OTB.
Is T-Bob here?
T-Bob went to he came to they had an office meeting yesterday and he came to it.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m.
Look, I will say,
I mean,
I'll
it was
stick
a
up for
long. I want to stick up for both of y'all.
Yeah, I'll stick up for T-Bob
First
here,
of all, people in this chat care way too much about what y'all's schedule is, and it was a very long weekend for the both of you. And also, T-Bob's grandmother just passed away, so I think it's fine if we give him a little bit of grace.
Yeah, and win or lose, that had nothing to do with it. That 5 a.m. show after doing post game, that was a lot. So that's why the day was off. It was built in. The day off yesterday was kind of built in. We were the only show at Vegas that did the show on Monday, and so be off on Tuesday. And for us, it was really cool. I actually passed T-Bob in carpool line. We got a chance to take our kids to school.
Yeah,
and it's actually a really good morning.
Did you sleep? Seriously, did y'all sleep at all between? Because I know T-Bob had to do whiskey and wine, but you also had to do an hour of post game for LSU as well. What did?
I got a couple hours.
Okay.
3:45 wake up time, I think, to kind of get down there because we weren't doing it from our hotel. We were in the Luxor and it was in the Mandalay Bay. So it was a little bit of a walk to do it. It was so weird walking to do that show. Nobody on the casino floor, nobody in the casino.
Which is weird because 5 in the morning, people.
I think
in
if
the
LSU
casino
would have
in
won,
Vegas.
honestly.
Yeah, fair.
As many people that were there for LSU, I think
Yeah.
there would have been people, but because LSU lost, and it was weird. It was I've never seen Vegas dead like that.
Yeah, like I
But
said,
it
I
was.
think last I saw T-Bob Sunday was 10:15-ish maybe. I don't know. So I don't know how much sleep he actually got.
I only lost T-Bob a couple times in Las Vegas. Ask the Bench. What do you think about Perkins moving to the star position a bit? We're deep in the linebacker room, and putting him on a tight end might be good. It comes from Ryan inside the chat. It's kind of it's like he played last year. It's like a Nicholls Sam type position. I do agree that we are deep at the linebacker position. I thought both Weeks brothers played pretty
good.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, their aggressive nature, I think, does certainly help them. Even sometimes when you don't have the best read, but you're doing it full speed, it's disruptive for the offense. And I thought Whitweeks had a really nice game.
He did.
Even stuff that didn't show up in the stat line, when he was blitzing, he was bringing pressure. And he was one of the more aggressive players defensively. Every time I saw him, 40 was hitting somebody. And so, yeah, I mean, you could certainly, it's not just moving him positions. It's what are you going to do with him once you move him to that position? It's going to be crucial. He could still do, edge rushing, responsibilities and snaps from that position, but it's just, they are committed to him being an off-the-ball linebacker. And so we'll see kind of how that develops. I mean, he had 8 tackles in the game. He was your leading tackler, Harold Perkins was. There was a couple of times where he lined up on the edge, and his speed certainly affected the game. It's just, trying to figure out what the best spot for him is going to be as far as no matter what it is. If it's star, if it's backer, I think it's those sub downs and where you're going to have him pressure from. Because there was a couple times he hit the A gap that was effective. And we've talked about that all off season long. But I would have a hard time rolling any unit out there that didn't have Whitweeks in it. Just based off what I saw on film. Ask the Bench, favorite casino table game?
Blackjack.
I like a good blackjack, but my favorite is probably roulette.
Yeah.
I love
only
roulette.
ever played blackjack, so I guess by default.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like roulette. It's just,
I didn't do any gambling this weekend, but last time I went to Vegas, I got a pretty good amount on blackjack, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop playing.
Yeah, I did a little bit. I dabbled. It was fun to sit in the sports book. I've never really had that opportunity. That's not something I've ever really done. All my sports betting has always been on the mobile app. Since it's been legal here.
Did you place bets there?
I haven't had. Yeah, T-Bob and I, we had fun, man.
Yeah.
We sat down there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And played some.
It's funny. I met these 2 guys that were there, and they just started talking to me, asking me about the set or whatever. And then they were telling me that they fly into Vegas every single weekend from Arizona to sit in that sports book and bet.
Yeah.
They call them whales or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Like they go every single weekend.
Yeah.
And just sit there and bet. And I was like, that is crazy.
That is
That's too
wild.
much
I mean,
playing.
I've got a casino that has a sports book right by my house, and I don't do that.
Right.
And now we could do it. I will say, like, there is like a component to it that sitting in the sports book and having a bet and having everyone cheer, live or die by the bet one way or the other, that there is some juice there that is really, really fun to be a part of. So, like, if you're in Vegas and you do that, but I just, just hadn't really ever done that before, but I did enjoy it. And T-Bob and I were on, like, we had the same games, so we were obviously rooting with each other. We kind of made a parlay before, and it actually hit. The pontoon parlay did not hit because Musso and T-Bob ruined it for us.
Wow.
The Iowa under, it got hairy there for a second.
You took it at 41, right?
41, and it was 40.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like, ooh.
Hey, a win's a win.
A win is a
counts.
win.
You know what 40 isn't? 42.
That's true.
Musso told me he forgot to bet it at 41. He got it on the hook because he got it at 40 and a half.
Ooh, he was really sweating.
Yep.
He was really sweating. How about, I don't know. Iowa. I know it was Illinois State.
Yeah, McNamara
40 points is like
played
80 for another team.
He threw for 300 yards.
I know. It was some stat like they had more receiving touchdowns from a receiver in that game than they've had in the last 2 years combined or something. Crazy stat.
Oh, I
like
saw
that.
Danny. I forgot.
I know. I didn't see Danny.
I saw Danny.
Like, I saw his footage, and I'm like, hold up, are you here? He's like,
yeah. I
I'm
sent
like,
y'all a picture
bruh.
in the chat.
Like, you're
in
not
the
gonna
group
like say
chat.
what's up?
I know.
Like, you're not gonna like
I told him.
holler at us?
Yes, I told him. He saw Bo and I, and he came and said hi, and I sent a picture of us in the chat. But like, I was like, Jake's upstairs, like he's in the booth, and he's like, oh really? And he didn't even go say hi or nothing.
Wow. Guy gets one little job with the volume and just thinks he can't come back and remember the little people.
I know.
Sad.
He remembered me.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I kind of wish it was you instead of Taylor. I wish you would have stayed.
Oh,
Taylor, rebuttal to that? 10 seconds left?
I mean, the show wouldn't be as good, but if you wanted, that's fine.
All right, that's going to do it for us. T-Bob will be back with us tomorrow. We will see you then, same time, same place, OTB.
Off the bench.
This says no live?
Hold on. Okay, yeah.
Central Plumbing.
Yeah.
Centralplumbing.org. That is the one that has not hit yet. T-Bob's at home. That's never good. But Central Plumbing can, fix any issue, even when he's at home. All right, so go to the website today to see what they can do for you. And it's not only an emergency. It's now 24/7, 365. Weekend, holiday, game day, does not matter. They can come out and they can help you. But if you're looking to upgrade at your home or business, that is certainly something they can do. If you want to go tankless today with a tankless water heater, never run out of hot water again, no matter the situation, that is the call. 225-925-8552. And again, always online at centralplumbing.org.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.